Okay, good. Okay, don't even remember this. Sure, whatever. We'll just play like that. Why do you have to do it like that? I just need to. Okay. Okay, let's see. So, let me hear you for a bit, Ghost. Let's just see if everything sounds copacetic.
Test, 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 test.
Yeah, that sounds fine. And then, do you sound acceptable, Ace?
Check, check, check. How do I sound? Do I sound okay?
Loud and clear. And then, what about myself? Do I sound alright? Do I sound clear? And the audio is acceptable?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Let me check to see if this looks okay. The names are in the wrong location, but I guess I can fix that real quick. Ain't nothing but a G thing. That. Good stuff. Okay. Good. Everything should be good. Lord's will. Okay. And then check to make sure I feel as if you just threw off the thing. Yeah, no, the names are jacked up. Anyway, just check the YouTube.
Oops. YouTube is good.
Or the stream, I should be saying. Okay. We're here. It's a little janky, but it's what it is. What it is. All right, everybody, look alive, just like Black Boy said. Let me start the recording. right. We are live and we are recording. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back, everyone, to the Be Warmed and Be Filled podcast. We're back. We're back, and we have not everyone here, but we do have the guys, the bros, the friends, the family. We got Ace.
What's up?
We got Ghost.
Yo.
And we got myself, Quest Lando. Guys, how y'all doing? How y'all feeling?
Pretty good.
All right.
Yeah, I'm feeling not so bad myself. Admittedly, a bit tired, but I am full off of a nice dinner slash night out. So hopefully I'll be able to take that all the calories and convert that into the energy we need to have a dope podcast. So before we get into the actual podcast stuff, typical podcast intro, blah blah blah. If you are ever looking for new music, you don't even have to go on your own mission or search for anything. Just come straight to us to provide you with latest, greatest, dope music. And you can find that in the description below. In the description below, you can find a Spotify playlist for our song selections of the week. And after we do the recording, we edit the description to just have a list of the songs. So if you just want to see exactly what's there, maybe an artist that you like. Also in the description below, after we do the podcast and everything, you can find timestamps. If you just want to skip around throughout the podcast or come back and skip around to the podcast at certain topics, certain timestamps. And if you just want to watch smaller versions of the podcast or just watch a specific topic, we also on the channel under videos, you can just see our topic videos. And of course, speaking of topics, if anyone ever has any topic recommendations that was worth us covering on the podcast, always feel free to send them, and we'll break it down to the best of our ability. That's what we're here to do: have deep, in-depth conversations based off all the most random topics that you can think of. But before we get into the actual topics, I'd like to start off with on the podcast. Do we have any topic recommendations outside of music?
Content recommendations. I've been playing this game called Neon White. It is a first-person puzzle platformer. Anybody familiar with Mirror's Edge would be kind of familiar with the gameplay loop. But instead of being like completely narrative driven with kind of like long detailed levels, it's basically just like quick up to a minute levels where your objective is just to basically get to from point A to point B using
I know.
using these different abilities that are attached to the guns that you pick up throughout the course of the level. So the game encourages you to get through the levels as fast as possible. There's different ranks the faster you go, and that's the aspect I like about it the most. It's just extremely quick. It the the faster you get, the more precision is needed with like using the different weapons, taking out different targets and things like that, and trying to figure out how you can use the abilities of the weapon from that come from the weapons to kind of like exploit um, shortcuts in the levels and things like that. So yeah, mad fun, very quick to pick up. Also, it almost has like a Toonami type aesthetic. Um, but the music reminds me of Toonami, the aesthetic of the game, um, like a PS2 era type joint. So yeah, mad fun. Highly recommend if you're into that type of like speed running type stuff.
Dope, dope. What's the game one more time?
Neon White.
Dope, dope, dope. Appreciate that. Although before we proceed, yes, my paranoia is not deceiving me. There is like probably like a really annoying echo. So give us one moment. There we go.
This isn't stream related, right? Or I should say the sharing that Ace is doing. That's not related to it.
I mean, it
Because
could be.
sometimes if you, I remember before when we had this issue, if we muted
Okay, so I think we can go back to here, and I think that might have resolved it. Our apologies for the technical difficulties, but we rather fix the problem uh, sooner than let the problem persist. And it was at a good timing because it's not like we got into the meat of the podcast, which of course the topics. Which, if there's nothing else, let's jump right into. So let me go back over here. Let me get rid of that because we are in fact here. Just switching some things around. Go over here. Yeah, Instagram has like these. You can put gifs in the comment section now. So annoying. Anyway, good. I think everything is in place where it needs to be. Yes. So real quick, starting off light, but something that depending on your environment, you came across one or the other. Yes. And I guess trigger, not trigger, but some people feel uncomfortable by talking or thinking about these two creatures. Yes, rats. The rats, the literal. No, we're not talking about snitches. We're talking about the small rodents that you may or may not come across, or roaches, bugs. These little black and brown roaches that they come in packs. So I think there's even an expression like where there's one, there's many. Yes, quite simply, no need to prolong this. Which do you find more? Which do you hate more? Which do you find more gross, repulsive? All the above. I'll actually start on this one. Interestingly enough, I don't even know that I need to say that. This to be me transparent because y'all know me. I grew up, in some environments that weren't the greatest. We definitely at some points in our existences in certain households that I used to live in experienced rodents, especially in the basement. One time, I think I literally like randomly like stepped on one and just killed it here and there, right then and there. But nevertheless, yeah, rat mouses are just like the most annoying thing like ever, especially once they get into like the walls and awful. And I say that to say I never actually had experience with roaches. Like the first time I actually ever even saw a roach, like IRL, was I was in this grocery store, this grocery store in the hood. Not grocery store, sorry, this corner store in the hood. It's like a little, corner store you pick up, your Arizonas and your bag of chips back when they were like 25 cents for a pack for a bag. Yeah, that's the first time I saw a roach. Uh, but yeah, so I don't. I never experienced roaches. I think rats are like the worst things you can have in your household. But obviously, depending on the cleanliness in your also your environment, you might be susceptible. What about y'all? What would you say is worse? Ace, start with you.
For me, even though I have not had direct experience with roaches in my own home, and I have had experience with mice, I think I would actually go roaches just because generally, I don't know, I hate I hate bugs in the house. That's like, I mean, mice in the house is bad, but for some reason, them just being slightly bigger and not bugs makes it not as bad to me. But and I think too, I feel like mice you might have a better chance of getting rid of.
Yep.
Um yeah, yeah, me and Wes we had a situation in our room, and we used the peanut butter and or like a peanut butter on top of a bucket in order to like get the mouse to go into the bucket, and
What
then
kind
it
of
got
black household and trap concoction is this?
yeah, and then you just put some like water in the bottom of the bucket so the mouse can't get back out, and like it's shocking that how efficiently it worked. So I just based on that experience, even though it was very annoying to have to deal with the mouse, The fact that it worked, I feel like dealing with them would be easier than just getting rid of like a roach infestation. It's just there's just too many. Like, so I don't know. I think that's my opinion on it.
Fair enough. Well, so anyone out there, if you ever have a rat infestation, no need to call it exterminator. Just hit up Ace. What
Google
about
it. That's a pretty well.
what about you, Ghost? What do you think is worse, or what would you hate to see in a household? Rats or roaches?
Yeah, roaches are worse. Like mice suck. I haven't had to deal with rats, and even though I think rats are a tier above mice in how bad they are, and it's a little more, I don't want to say a fear, but like a primal. If you see a rat, it's like you gotta, I don't want to say you gotta fight it, but you gotta do something. You gotta get rid of it. But at least they're large and you can kind of figure out where they're coming from. You can kind of get rid of them. I haven't done the bucket thing, but I've done the peanut butter on like the glue trap to catch them. And it's like,
Oh, those glue traps. Those things used to go hard.
yeah, the I kind of like the old school, the snap mouse traps. Those are pretty
I think
you can
I
hear
think
them, but
I think
it's
Peter
not,
says those are unethical. With Peter.
man, we ain't gotta get into what PETA thinks,
What is
but
an ethical way to kill them?
I'm saying like either way
Oh
they're
well,
gonna
I mean,
die.
obviously I'm joking, but according to Peter, you probably shouldn't be killing them.
If anything, it's more ethical because that just snaps their neck. And well, sometimes some of them it does, some of them it just like kills it just on the body. But if you're getting a glue trap on a mouse, a lot of the time you're not getting off that glue trap. So if it's stuck, it's starving to death. Like, how is that more unethical? Or
Well,
how is that more ethical? You
well, the
know?
rat's not going to starve to death depending on how long you leave it there. Now now you could say like once it's depending on the stickiness. What's the word? What is
Adhesiveness.
yeah, adhesiveness or whatever of the glue. There's no way you can get it off, so that's not. It's dead either way. But I'm just saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Um,
It's dying quickly or slowly. But besides the point, I mean, mice and rats are bad, but roaches are is just different because you can see one roach and it doesn't matter if it's in the middle of the floor. Like literally your entire cabinets, your entire kitchen could be infested and there's no way of knowing what's safe and what's not. So you just kind of got to dump everything, get an exterminator. There's no playing around. There's no setting traps. If you got roaches, you
I don't think everyone that's ever experienced roaches need to get the whole like 9 yards to get rid of them. Don't you get some
well,
raid?
you technically you can, but I mean, me personally, I'm talking from the way I would approach it. I'm not risking that. Hire a professional, and I'm going to bug bomb the place and get rid of it. Because if there's the slightest chance that I miss something, yeah, it'll literally keep me up at night. So
Fair
roaches are
enough.
worse.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I think probably the majority. I don't know. I guess I'll maybe ask on social media or, and just in general, if anyone's listening or anyone here is in the comments, put what you think would be worse. Rats or roaches. I think a lot of people like you were kind of saying, Ace, don't like bugs. I mean, obviously nobody likes either, but I think people really have an aversion to insects and bugs. So I think that might creep people out just a bit more. And again, the fact that where there's one, there's many. And not to say that there's just going to be one singular mouse in your household. There's probably a couple there too, but uh, you might have like a horde of maybe 10 to 20. I don't know. I'm no like ratologist, but when it's roaches, there's hundreds. But I digress. Yeah, moral of the story is, if you do have some type of infestation, nothing wrong with doing your own DIY extermination, but sometimes it is best to just get professionals in there to try to get rid of it for good. But if there's nothing else, we can move on to the next topic. What the heck?
My fault.
Hey, what do you do? Shut down whole of Discord?
My fault.
Okay. Okay. Now, if you know anything about me and this podcast, we don't really like to touch politics. Politics, that's not really our wave. But sometimes something happens in the world of politics that's just like, we gotta talk about it. Like, what in the world is happening? So, in case you missed it, there was this rally that Trump had, and he unveiled these sneakers. As you can see, I'm holding. I don't know. I mean, I guess the best way to describe it, if you want a pair of high dunks, all gold, Trump got you. And I think there's a flag on the back of it. You know, really solidifying that patriotic wealth vibe. And he unveiled these at a rally. And if anyone's interested, the going retail price or the retail price was $400. Yeah, so it's the Trump sneakers, the Trump 11s. We thought these were going to be cheap. Yeah, so $400. And I guess they're I don't know if that's what they're called, but they might be called the Never Surrender high tops. I like that. Never surrender. I don't know if they actually have a title. I should probably look
What's
up
the
the.
context for that name? Where did it come from?
Oh, I don't want to get the politic territory. I'm trying to be funny here, but you do know that Trump. We do know that Trump is like currently facing a whole bunch of indictments, but he's still like running for president. So I think the theme is like, hey, even though they're trying to get me out of here and impeach me while I'm not even in office, well, I'm not surrendering. Okay, let me do a quick. Yeah, maybe I'll do this while you were talking, but I wonder if these things are on StockX. Anyway, but yeah, so yeah, he had a little rally. I watched a clip. I watched a little clip of when he unveiled them, when he brought them out, and I also watched a clip of him getting booed at that ring. I don't know if it was in connection with the actual sneakers, so I don't want to come in here and play that. But even outside of that, is that my fault or what's going on? Is even outside of that, it was interesting to see like the reception from people. I mean, obviously, most people just clowned it out of the park. Like, why would this is like so to me, it's the first president probably or running president to try to sell people some sneakers. You're usually not really trying to you're not really trying to sell a product when you're running for president. You typically are trying to just gain people's support. But Trump is Trump. But it's interesting the way people are reacting to it. Again, most people are joking, but this one news contributor, news anchor, I don't know what exactly their position is, had an interesting take on this, and I wanted to hear y'all thoughts. Now I wanted to just play it, but maybe it must be me. Yeah, it was just me. Sorry. So go ahead and play it. Let's see what the guy had to say.
I was on social media last night. Very interesting. As you see black support eroding from Joe Biden, this is connecting with Black America because they love sneakers. They're into sneakers. They love this is a big deal, certainly in the inner city. So when you have Trump roll out his sneaker line, they're like, wait a minute, this is cool. He's reaching them on a level that defies and is above politics. The culture always trumps politics. And Trump understands culture like no politician I've ever seen.
Question for you on that point, though.
Yeah.
Will the people that are excited about the sneakers and excited about Donald Trump, will that translate into them going out and voting for Donald Trump?
Well, anybody willing to put $400 down for a pair of sneakers? Yeah, I think that's commitment and love.
I
It's
hope
something.
you're right.
It's something. It's affection. Even the sneaker thing. I was on.
You know, he said a lot of nonsense. I'll get right to the shits. But one thing he said that was absolutely facts: the culture always wins. This is a facts. So yeah, just read a bit of it. Salute to Hollywood Unlocked. Salute to Jason Lee. Get a load of this. Fox News contributor Raymond Arroyo has unveiled the secret weapon in Donald Trump's 2024 election campaign: sneakers. Yes, you heard it right, sneakers. During a recent segment on the Big Weekend Show, Arroyo boldly claimed the black voters would flock to Trump's in the next election, all thanks to the shiny high gold high top sneakers dubbed the Never Surrender high tops, complete with the American flag detailed on the back. These limited edition kicks have caused quite a stir after Trump recently promoted them at a SneakerCon in Philadelphia. Their reasoning: this is connecting with Black America because they love sneakers. Hey man, he's not wrong. He confidently stated, according to him, Trump's foray into the sneaker game is a game changer, especially in the inner city. He's reaching them on a level that defies and is above politics. The culture always trumps politics, he declared, pun intended. So yeah, according to this brother, the reason why Trump is about to get that Black American support strong, it's about to be fierce, is because he got these sneakers. And we all know that black people love sneakers. I mean, come on. The proof's in the pudding.
You just feed into the stereotype, bro.
That's what I'm saying. Like, hey, is it a stereotype if it's true?
Dog, bro.
But, me aside, maybe he'll get my vote. I think a lot of people look at this and they do take it like, disrespectful, like a smack in the face. Like, you're reducing black and brown people down to our love and fascination for sneakers and clothing and things of that nature, fashion. How could you do that? So I guess simply, what do y'all make of this? Do y'all think that this is a complete arrogant, stereotypical sentiment that this person's saying, or do you think there is actually some truth to the fact that it's not surprising why we'd think that this could bring in a black and brown vote, because there's some truth to the communities and cultures' love of sneakers and things, and it could even attract them to vote for a person. What do you think, Ghost?
First of all, I mean, it's definitely racist what this dude's saying, and this is something like straight off of Boondocks episode. I will say, if it wasn't this racist dude saying this, there's a tiny little ounce of truth to this, just from the aspect of if a politician put out some of those shoes that are like super ugly, but if he put out some heat, I mean, he'd see no matter where it's coming from. That being said, the fact that it's coming from this dude, it's again very racist because it's a super surface level analysis, quote unquote, of what makes black people tick, and he 100% does not have any black friends. I can just you already know that he doesn't really know black people. He's talking about the culture. He don't know the culture.
That's facts.
So I'm not gonna pay what he's saying any mind because it's coming from him specifically. But there is, again, just to speak on a broader level, I guess there's some element of truth to the fact that people, if you put something out that people connect with, be it materialistic or face level, whatever, it will prompt them to side with you in the realm of politics, which is pretty stupid, but it's kind of how people work in general. And I'm not just talking about black people, I'm just saying people in general. And like, if you were gonna vote for Trump before, you're one of the people that probably bought these sneakers, unless you're a reseller, and you're probably still gonna vote for him, and this isn't gonna change your mind either way. unless you make again, they only dropped like I think 1,000 pairs of these, so there's 100% gonna be a real resale market for them.
Limited
And
edition.
these shits are gonna be marked. I already know they're gonna be like over 1,000 easy. But if you make bank off of that, maybe then you'll become a Trump supporter because he, in a roundabout way, facilitated this. But yeah, no.
Well, doing some quick research, uh, I did see somebody actually did buy a pair of them for 9,000. Oof. But
Is that
realistically,
verified?
realistically speaking, yes, and it's in the NY Times. Realistically speaking, I don't think like just because a shoe is a limited edition doesn't mean it's going to sell. But like, don't for every politician that's out there thinking about to drop a shoe that's going to move, that's not the way it goes. But yeah, I think you're largely right. I think one of the bottom lines, if somebody was going to vote for them, well, I guess going back to what the guy actually said, if somebody's going to buy these sneakers, they're definitely voting for him. And if somebody was going to vote for him, they probably would still vote for him regardless of whether they sold the sneaker or not. What do you think, Ace? Do you think this is pure ignorance? Or do you think there is some level of validity to the fact that, there is a certain culture out there that really does love sneakers? So you could put out product that could entice them to vote for somebody.
You're on mute.
Hella mute.
My bad. Yeah, this was just extremely cringe to hear. I think in general, like Trump getting a black vote would come from him being like, or the perception that he's, you really only have two choices when it comes to voting. You can vote for all third party, whatever, but at the end of the day, they're not becoming president. And so when you only have two choices, it's pretty much you're siding with kind of like the lesser of two evils. And in my I think Trump getting a black vote would majority come from maybe like frustration with Biden's presidency compared to Trump 4 years ago now. So
Okay, political analyst.
yeah, that's just based off like random stuff that I've heard. But when you bring in this sneaker thing into it now, like I don't necessarily think people that think that way would be swayed to vote for Trump because he dropped a sneaker. Like I think it could be something where it's like, haha, he made a dope sneaker or whatever. We're gonna vote for Trump, but at the end of the day, I think it would come down to some type of like thought about the presidency of Trump compared to the presidency of Biden, and whose presidency you were more in favor of. So I think this take is very extremely reductive, and it doesn't hold much water in my mind, if at all.
Fair enough. I guess you're saying this. Are you saying this more so based off the specific like candidates, or do you think there is a world in which like a politician could put out some type of product that would sway a culture? Like, and I don't want to get bigoted. I don't want to get bigoted myself, but damn, I'm not gonna say nothing actually. I was gonna
getting canceled.
I'm just talking. Nobody listen. If like a politician put out some like their own brand of sombreros, would they get the 6 man?
Bro, you sounded kind of like him right now. I'm gonna keep it a buck.
Royal. Now I'm trying to think if there's something
Oh my-
Uh,
if
what do
there's
you
something that
mean?
I would want that the politician could have a hand in
Yes,
developing.
yes. There we go. What if what if Joe Biden or what if Bernie, what's his name? Bernie Sanders? Whatever his name is. I don't follow politics. What if he put out like his own pair of blades? Uh,
Exactly. Just thinking that.
or Obama put out what was his slogan back then? We can change? Something about change.
I've been trying to. I forgot, but it was like very catchy.
Yeah, so
Not that catchy, apparently.
it was good, especially at the time. I don't even know what any of these guys' slogans or things is.
Well, Make
Maybe
America
it's
Great Again really pushed out like a lot of the
oh
stuff.
yeah, MAGA's not going nowhere. That thing's gonna yeah. He should have just called them to Make America Great Again. So I don't know why all this never surrender BS. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, if we don't know anything about politics, well, maybe so if we don't know anything about politics, but if we're like conscious enough to know that this BS doesn't work, why would a grown ass politician try to dole out these things and trying to gain people's like support?
I don't know. Maybe they got some type of market research I don't know about, but it's just I don't think it works.
Yeah, I don't think
I
anybody
don't think
like
that's I don't think that's the impetus at the end of the day.
yeah. But we're also accounting for the fact that like, but I mean, it does go back to what Gus saying. I think loyalty is like loyalty at the end of the day. Like,
Right.
I don't, yeah, I think you might be right. There might have been some research that shows like, hey, this group likes this thing, so let's go into that market. But at the end of the day, I think loyalty is what ties people to politics. Like, you can't just put like product and loyalty towards a certain party in the same basket. It doesn't work like that. At least from my understanding. Yeah, there might be one or two like people out there that are swayed by this type of thing. I definitely don't think a person like, just in case anyone wasn't aware of this. I don't even talk about their race, but old politician doling out sneakers. That nobody thinks that they're more into tune with the culture. Like, but the answer probably is sooner. They looked at some market research. Hey, these people like sneakers. Let's get into that. These people like hip hop. Let's make a rap. Let's make a rap. Like all these things are just not one to one. But it is again another piece of news that makes you wonder what is going on in this era. Dang, is it going to be in his future history books? Like when they go over like what happened in 2024, and in this chapter, Trump doled out sneakers. I can't wait to see what the history books are going to look like when we have children. But I digress. If there's nothing else, we can move on to the next topic. Yes. From somebody that knows nothing about the culture, speaking on the culture, to somebody that is in the culture, that's trying to kind of avoid it or make themselves like they're not in too deep. So, salute to Fat Joe. They run a show. This was actually a little while ago because this is during the time where a lot of people were talking about the Young Thug Rico case or the YSL Rico case. And in there during this show / interview, Fat Joe was talking about his raps because there's also a big conversation surrounding raps being used in court. Which, if you've been following any bit of that YSL trial, they literally were playing Young Thug songs up in there and asking everybody about these lyrics. So I think there were some laws that were either trying to be passed or were passed that says, hey, maybe we can't use lyrics in the court of law, but that didn't fly in Atlanta so far. So yeah, in this show or side interview, Fat Joe admits 95% of his raps are lies while defending Young Thug and made Rio case. Let's see what he had to say.
Professionally for 30 years, I've lied in almost 95% of my songs. I'm being honest. Lied.
Lied how?
Just,
What do you
just
mean?
go. I write like I feel that day. I'm just being creative. You know, if you could probably you couldn't build the jail high enough for the lyrics I've said on songs, which are all untrue. What I am is a family man, the person who gives back to my community all the time, open businesses in my community. So the music would never amount to the actual person, Joseph Cartagena. I've been rapping professionally for.
So it was a fat show. Man. In hearing this, if anyone's even familiar with the Terror Squad era, even, Fat Joe's contribution to some of the big puns, works, like, it wasn't for the faint of heart. So it was a lot of violence, a lot of drugs, like everything that old white people think about hip hop. It was embedded in there too. So for him to come out and say like 95% of it was actually just wrong, or not wrong, but lies, it really makes you wonder. And I think what most people are thinking, he is really just using this as a cover for the fact that, hey, if people really want to go back and start jamming up rappers for the lyrics, he would be on the top of the list. But in the same vein, he's saying, it's all art, and at the end of the day, he's a family man, a businessman. What else did he say in that? Amen. And this kind of just feeds to the continual conversation that we've had about like art as it pertains to rap, and rap needing to be authentic or not. So I guess like in hearing this, what are y'all thoughts? Do y'all think it's completely acceptable for an artist, a rapper, to come out and say, hey, the vast majority of things I rap about are 100% cap, and I'm just speaking from art? Or do you think that if an artist isn't living something, and they're like, it is going to be capped, then they should just stay away from that? Because I mean, that's not common, but you could rap. You could just rap about being a businessman. You could just rap about being a family man. So why not just do that? What do you think, Ace?
To the first question, is it okay for them to come out and just say this, that all their stuff was lies?
Cap, straight cap.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think that's fine, and I say that from a perspective of, just like if we look at rappers like storytellers, any type of storyteller,
Poets.
then yeah, exactly. We don't expect that everybody who's written a book or directed a movie or whatever has been the first person perspective in that story, or lived that first person's perspective. So from that point of view, I think yes, it's fine for them to admit that. Um, I do think that it could rub fans the wrong way if um you've like in any way implied that the stuff that you've rapped about was like your background, was your
Which is
was
literally
part of your
every
experience.
rapper ever.
I mean, not every rapper though. Like, I mean, these backpack.
95%.
No,
95%.
I guess. Maybe. Yeah.
I think you're talking about a type of rapper, because there are a lot of rappers that don't rap about like a life of crime and violence and drugs.
Yeah. I guess that's true.
But even if you don't, it's still kind of implied that whatever you're rapping about, it's true to you, that you lived it in some aspect, I guess, even if it's not about a specific facet of the culture.
Well, I mean, for example, like like Danny Brown's with Danny Brown, obviously their lyrics largely included drug usage, and I fully believe it, like I think they have a life that showcased they consumed a lot of what they rapped about, what they spoke about.
Hmm.
And then vice versa. Like I said, you could rap about being like a family guy. No pun intended. And then you have guys
Well,
like
we
Chance the
saw how
Rapper.
that went for Chance.
Exactly. I was gonna
Exactly.
mention Chance the Rapper.
Mm. Um. Yeah. But what was the second part of the question? I forgot. It was
Um,
okay for them to come out with and say this, and
yeah, even I forgot. I guess I was just saying, do yeah, I guess do we need our artists to be like authentic?
oh, um, I mean, yeah, I would prefer it, but I think it just comes down to the artist being honest about what they have lived. Like, if they haven't lived the stuff that they're rapping about, then say that. Like, don't 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 imply that you have, or leave it open to interpretation. Um, uh, I think that's my
They gotta
take.
come with a disclaimer at the start of every song.
Salute to
Not
Dirk.
part of every song. Well, yeah, he did. He did do that well, but I don't know, like interviews and things like that. I think that's where it would kind of be made known, like where your inspiration comes from. If it's not your own life, like just be honest about it. Like if you like Scorsese movies, for example, and that's why you rap from this gangster perspective, then say that. Don't just um leave it open to interpretation. I think that's kind of my thoughts on it.
Got you, got you. How about you, Ghost? What do you think about you think it's fully acceptable for an artist to come on and say, "Hey, all the stuff I'm rapping about is like 100% like cap, no facts involved"? And do you think do you need your artist to be authentic in what they're talking
Uh,
about?
I think it can be acceptable, and this is coming. This is just assuming it's just not talking about me. It's talking about like the general audience.
Yeah, yeah,
It's it's acceptable if you aren't big and if you aren't currently making music in your prime, because it's a lot different if Fat Joe says this than if like 21 said this a son that he's just capping out all his raps and it's complete fiction. Like you're gonna kind of get clown like Drake. Drake hasn't done anything like this, but people clown on Drake because they say he's not about that life. He just be saying stuff in his music that he grew up well, all this, and he's never come out and said that it's lies. People just infer that. So if someone actually said it and admitted to it, it depends on the demographic of rap or the type of rap that you're trying to audience you're trying to appeal to, but you're just gonna come off looking goofy. And again, it's different for Fat Joe. And again, by the way, we all know what he's doing. He's smart about it, but we all know what he's doing. Because I'm not saying if he did or didn't do the specific things he rapped about, but it's smart that he's saying he didn't. Because if the feds come knocking and he has this whole catalog of stuff admitting to a litany of crimes, and we saw it went for Young Thug or it's going for Young Thug. But besides that point, like he's not like he's kind. I don't want to say he's retired, but he's like in the dead end of his career. It's like
Yeah,
he's not.
if he did this in the beginning, he would have been
Yeah,
laughed out the park.
yeah, exactly. So you can do it, but just be very aware of what can happen. And then, from my perspective, as far as like, do I need the artist to be genuine in their raps? It depends. Like for me, I've said this before. I will not get influenced in any way by whatever content is in an artist's music,
yep.
good or bad. That's I just won't get influenced by it.
Oh, you're not good.
And
If rapper raps about doing community service, you're not gonna feel.
Hell no.
You said there was a album. Wasn't there an album you listened to or you had on the list from last year that you said like
Yeah,
actually?
that wasn't rap.
Oh, you said only rap.
Oh my!
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you said music, but okay, fine. Those always an
Well,
exception to the
okay,
rule.
even music, there's very rare exceptions, but even that, it's not like them talking about their life, and that makes me want to change. There's a certain perspectives and views that they might bring up in a lyric or two.
Mhm.
For rap, again, it's not going to really influence me. So if it does come out that certain stuff they're rapping about was false, I'm not. I kind of look at it just off the rip. When I'm first listening to a track, I'm assuming that there's some element of falsehood, there's some element of exaggeration. Like you might have witnessed it, you might have been a part of something similar, but I'm hoping and assuming that you weren't the one shooting up X, Y, and Z. And I'm just thinking of a couple songs that like they talk about shooting and hitting kids by accident and crazy shit. And I'm in my mind, I'm like, okay, you might have experienced something like this or seen something like this, but you haven't done this act yourself. So unless it's like like a I don't want to say a John Morant situation, but
Hmm.
like you acted hard, you grew up in a gated community, and what's the 8 Mile? What's it? Clarence? What's his name?
Wait a minute.
Situation like that, and it's really egregious. I'm not. I'm not gonna be too pressed over it. But there has to be some like you can't have a great life and then pretend you grew up in like you can't do that. Like that's too much. But
I think
some element of lies is it's fine for me.
I think it sounds like you're saying like, for example, if an artist grew up in that environment and they've seen things, maybe like it's been almost like in their face, or it happening on the news, and then they rap about it. Maybe you'd be way more accepting of that, opposed to if
Yeah,
they.
it's more about like authenticity than actual full on truthfulness, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I think a lot of people are generally accepting of that. I feel, I mean, not, I don't want to put anything or not put or take away from anybody. I feel like that's a lot of what was encapsulated. That's what last I always took that to be a lot of what how Nas produced his songs.
Yeah, I was
Um,
thinking of New York State of Mind.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
about shooting up the building lobby. Yeah, it's
yeah,
like
yeah, and even like Pac, I feel like I feel as if that's another good example of an artist that spoke from a perspective of their environment and not necessarily they had to be in every one of those
yeah, yeah, yeah.
scenarios. Um, yeah, and I think I largely agree with your sentiment, Ace, about just how it's 100%. I mean, yeah, you might get clowned on for a bit, but I mean, it's better than actual committing crime, of course. I think it's better to be honest in like your interviews and however else you want to be honest, or however else where any other medium you want to like speak on that. Just hey, like I'm a storyteller. I'm just an artist, not just an artist, but I'm an artist. I'm creating art based off my experiences or what I feel compelled to rap about or make music about. That I don't have to be in it to I don't want to be in it to actually have to speak on it. I think a lot of people accept that. And I think it's probably better to do it sooner than later, because if you do it 30 years later, then people just look at you like, hey, you're literally just doing this to try to cover up things so that the feds never come after your butt. But salute to him. He's not capping. He's a businessman. He's a family man. He be posting pictures with his children.
Is his son the one that got caught up in that scam or that scheme or whatever? Or am I thinking of someone else?
I'm not 100% sure about that. I know he has multiple sons. So I'm not 100% sure about that. But that's what's the fed, Joe. What's love got to do? Got to do with it. But if there's nothing else, we can move on to the next topic. speaking of family men, we know the brother Guy Fieri from just being on cooking shows. Every time they pop up on my Instagram feed, they go into restaurants. I'm not sure if they had a specific show. They would go to different restaurants and try their food. I guess that's a lot of shows on Food Network or whatever it's called. And you know what's interesting? I don't want to get into a whole tangent, but some of these guys, diners, drive-ins, and drives. That's one of the shows. Some of these guys, when they're known for a specific thing, like again, they just go around and eating at restaurants and testing their food, say it was really good, whatever the case may be. I mean, highlighting certain restaurants. You know them for that, and you don't really know them too much. It's kind of hard to describe. It's kind of like when you watch a content creator or a streamer, and you know them for that one thing, but then all of a sudden that you see them in an interview talk about something else, and it's like, this guy has opinions. This is what I kind of came to my head when I heard this, but because I didn't even know this guy had a whole family, but maybe he must have talked about that in some of his shows or content, so maybe that's not a big surprise. But not only does he have a family, obviously he's relatively successful, so you would start thinking about what he would leave to his children. But according to him, he's just not gonna leave or give up his family inheritance just like that. Nah. His kid gotta work for it. So to the Shade Room, it posted a post. Guy Fieri says that he doesn't plan to leave his children any of his fortune unless they obtain 2 degrees. Let's hear what he had to say about it.
Me. My dad says, when I die, you can expect that I'm going to die broke and you're going to be paying for the funeral. And I told my boys, none of this that I've been building are you going to get unless you come and take it from me. So if you want it, so my nephew Jules is in the music industry down in LA. He's in the law program at Loyola Marymount right now. If you're going to be a big time entertainment agent, you need to have that law background. So he's doing that. And my youngest son, Ryder, is a senior in high school, getting ready to graduate, going to graduate in the spring. And he's like, Dad, this is so unfair. I haven't even gone to college yet. And you're already pushing that I got to get an MBA. He says, can I just get through college? I'm like, hey, it's if you want, Shaq said it best. Shaq said it about his kids one time. He says, if you want any of this cheese, you got to give me 2 degrees. Well, my 2 degrees mean, postgraduate. So they're on their way. Told them the same thing my dad.
We actually talked about that topic. So look at that. It's like a topic inception. There you have it. And it seemed like he's effectively kind of taking on that Shaq model. Also, this has nothing to do with nothing. Literally, don't even listen to me right now. But salute to all the individuals out there that have multiple degrees. Yes. I need to put those on my wall. I got 2 degrees.
Well, you got multiple degrees?
Technically, but not so.
That sounds like a fraud degree, low key.
I have a degree in electrical engineering. And I have a degree in industrial engineering.
Really? Okay, that's legit.
I do have 2 degrees, but regardless, I guess
you just had to shout yourself. Look at you patting yourself on the back.
Yeah, I'm just saying. If I was his son, I might. Well, actually, that's where the caveat comes in. They're not postgraduate, but that's it. That's neither here nor there. But he follows the line of thinking that, and I don't know if y'all caught it, but you heard when he was talking about, what he was gonna saying, what I built up.
Yep, I caught that. Yeah,
he had to clarify. He's not just letting go of the things he built up. And it says the diners, drive-in, and drive star Guy Fieri is laying down the law regarding what will happen as to his future fortune. In a recent interview with Fox News, Fieri shared that he plans to die broke unless I don't think that's what he was trying to say. He plans to die broke unless his children obtain 2 degrees to inherit his fortune. He said his own father expressed the same sentiment. I told my boys none of this that I've been building are going to get unless you come and take it from me. According to people, Fieri recently signed a new contract with the Food Network that is worth an estimated $100 million. Jesus, that's a couple of generations worth of funds, and he's obviously a hardworking brother. So I mean, there you have it. And we heard multiple artists, entertainers, celebrities, what have you, express the sentiment like, I've built an entire dynasty And now I have children, and obviously I want to impart it onto them. Everyone works hard so that their children can have a better life than they have. But at the same time, we're not going to give this for free. You have to work for it. And in his case, he's demonstrating it by saying, "Hey, you got to get 2 degrees," which, I mean, actually isn't really the hardest thing. I've heard some parents say, "Hey, you got to be like the top of your class. You got to scale your own business first. You have to like do X, Y, Z." So, I'm not downplaying the college or the efforts you have to put into to get like multiple degrees, but I think schoolwork in general is way down the totem pole of like the things that a parent could make you do. But I guess I'm just kind of interested to hear y'all's take on this. I mean, I don't think it'll be too many disagreements, but what do y'all think? Do y'all agree? And would you even recommend this type of parenting where your kids like have to work really hard in order for them to get the rewards of what you built up? Or do you think to some degree, I mean, yeah, you're not really in the interest of making your children go like above and beyond just to like get what the families already have? What do you think, Ghost? Sorry.
On a base level, I agree with conceptually what he's saying, in that you're not just gonna get free millions of dollars for doing nothing just because he's rich. Like, he's saying you got to go out and do something to deserve it, in essence, which I do agree with, but I'm tired, bro. College is not the final goal we should be striving towards. Like, it's really not. And I say this as someone with a college degree and all that.
Yes, we're all college educated here. If anyone's
It's
interested,
it's like uh we don't got to get into a whole thing on college, the concept of it in general, but it's like you're paying all this money, all this inflation. I think everyone's seen graphs of your income versus college tuition 20 years ago, 40 years ago versus now. And I'm just kind of done with it. I think it's all bullshit. Like, the point of college degrees is, and why I think he's requiring it, and what I partially agree with him on that, is that it takes work and dedication and commitment to get a degree in the first place, which is important to show. And those qualities, I think, is what he's looking for before he gives over the money willy-nilly. But it shouldn't be hard a lot to call. Like, it's kind of like the mentality that we've been deluded into, in that you have to go to college to become successful. You have to go to college to make it, which, surface level, there would be nothing wrong with that if it weren't for the fact that colleges at this point are like just scamming. It's a scam, bro. It's a scam. Like, they
Does
could
the
charge a
does the
tenth less.
scam apply to them though? Like he, I'm assuming he's at least footing the bill to put them through
Yeah,
college, and
again,
he
it's
does
not
have the money.
like for him. I'm not talking about for him specifically, because he
Okay.
can obviously afford it. I'm assuming he's fronting the cost for that. But when I say scam, I mean from the college's perspective. You're scamming people. Like, they could charge a tenth less of what they're getting now, and they're upcharging because they can, because it's been pushed and pushed and pushed that college is a must. You have to. If you don't get a degree, you're not going to do anything. Which is, like,
yeah,
again, there's nothing wrong with a degree
technically
fundamentally.
there is like data to support that we've seen.
There's data to support it, but I kind of feel like it's skewed in a sense, because like, again, all our parents, and like this recent, I don't like know the exact origin when it started, like millennials or whatever, if it was before that boom, whatever, I don't know. But the recent generations all have been had it drilled into them: you have to go to college, you have to get a degree, and if you don't, then you're gonna be flipping burgers. Like, that's really what it has been told. And if you hear that and you still don't go to college, then you're kind of, I'm trying to think of the right term for it. Like, I don't know if like a correlation or causation thing. I don't know if that's the right phrase exactly, but if you don't, if you've had that drilled into you your entire life and you still don't have commitment to go forward with college, and I'm not saying this like, if there's obviously some extenuating circumstances, health, money, and all that, but if you have the opportunity, you still don't do it, and you just kind of laze around, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, yeah, you're not going to be successful because you don't have the temperament for it in the first place. So I think that's kind of skewing the data. And I just feel like a lot
I
of the
think I
people
see what
that,
you're saying.
yeah, it's like a lot of people that are going to college, they could have succeeded without it. And I'm just tired of all these universities and all these, like, they're just making all this money, and it just, the prices keep increasing. People, the pay is not increasing at a rate that can support the tuition that are being charged like it was in the past. And it's just, I don't know, I kind of got off topic here, but I just think that requiring, especially to postgraduate, bro, like a bachelor's is bad enough, but postgrad, it's like a waste of,
I mean, degree inflation is real.
yeah, it really is. And that's really why I have a mindset that you don't, like, again, my job, what I do, I if we brought in someone that has a high school degree, never went to college, but they have the right temperament for it, they could in a year be doing what I'm doing, not as well, but be doing what I'm doing with an engineering degree, and be doing it, well, the same degree as someone that has graduated. Like, it's just kind of propped up, and it's not, it shouldn't be needed to be successful. It shouldn't be like, if you don't have a degree, then you're worth nothing, you can't get anything, any of my money, because like, I think like the point of a degree is to show that you have the commitment, you have the work ethic to do it. But it shouldn't, you can show that in other ways. And
So
I don't know.
what would be an alternative to the college system? Would it be like an apprenticeship system for I mean, working for actual jobs instead of
I mean,
going through the college system?
an apprenticeship system, like, you can try to start your own business without the need of college. Like, even college itself, I'm not necessarily opposed to the base degree of it, the base idea of it, but if you lower the cost, like, by 75% at least of what
I
people are paying now.
mean, let's keep it to like realistic there. No, it's not. That's not
I
happening.
mean, I get it, but I'm saying it shouldn't have
What you're
turned into what
saying
it is now.
isn't realistic.
I'm not necessarily going for realism. I'm just going for what I think in my mind would be a suitable alternative. And
Well, let's.
again, like, they
I
could
think we'd want to
lose
stick to realism. No.
ace
No,
ask
no, I'm not speaking
specifically
I'm not speaking from realism.
what
I'm speaking
alternatives
from
or what
ideal.
other
Like,
options there are.
Why would
Yeah,
you
like,
want? Why would you
ideally,
want an unrealistic alternative?
because I mean,
Isn't not isn't
he-
isn't not, if we're just looking for unreal, isn't it like an
just
unrealistic
because they've
idea?
it's,
Like
it's
we all
been
get $1 million and we don't, and nobody has to go to school.
okay, let me frame it like this. 50 years ago, I'm kind of going back a long while, but 50 years ago, people went to college, people graduated and all that. But the cost that they had to put forward was so much less. And
Yes, we know that
universities
everything was cheaper.
yeah,
50 years ago, we get gas for $1, less than $1.
listen, relative to salary, relative to inflation, relative to the cost of the dollar. It's like, there's charts and there's graphs out there, like, if you like, I'm throwing a random number out there right now, but like, if we were paying relative to our salaries, relative to the global economy, now what they paid for college back then, it'd be like $15,000 versus 50,000. Again, I'm just throwing a number out there. I don't have the exact stats on it.
It's fine. The thing is,
But-
no one's arguing that college is not expensive and that it hasn't gotten like exponentially expensive.
Well, I'm saying, Fro, you're talking about from a realism, like a realism perspective, that's saying it's not realistic to expect them to decrease tuition prices. I'm saying
Right.
it's not, but they easily can because in the past it's worked. It's worked where they can still make their money, but it's just the greed that is taking over. It's just increases so exponentially because it can get away with it.
Fair
That's what I'm
enough.
looking at.
I guess I'm not even arguing that they couldn't do it. I'm just saying they won't do it. That's not realistic.
I mean, the thing I proposed is just like, which was doing apprenticeships as opposed to college is something that obviously isn't realistic as well. So I was just saying, what would the ideal
Yeah,
be
like
in
again,
Ghost's opinion?
Well, I mean that is a bit more realistic because there are like trades in some industries which they do that. And I don't
but
think
he's not like again for Guy Fieri and for his family and his descendants. College is 100%, post grad is 100% on the table, and there's no problem because he can easily afford it. But I
Right.
feel like it just reinforces the idea for everyone else that is not Guy Fieri, doesn't have millions at the
Okay, I
disposal.
think we took us a
that-
while to get. I think we got to your point. You're talking about so like if a middle class or even lower class family put this type of pressure on their kids, that's not wholly productive because of like all the facets of what we're talking about here. The lower class or the middle class family can't just wholesale put their children through college, and the rewards for going to college is not going to even match what they have to put into it.
Essentially, yes. And
Okay, I got you. Yeah, and maybe this is a conversation more so for like the wealthy. Like, would you want your child to go through this type of route in life where they have to perform before you give them your fortune? Maybe that is an idea. But we do like to try to be all encompassing here. So for people that aren't extremely wealthy, it's just a productive way to go about it. Like, I'm going to give you what I can give, or I'll leave you whatever I can give if you grind your way through all these facets of higher education. But if you do that, you might not even get the reward just for your specific self, which I can agree. But I guess just like how that wouldn't make sense for like again a lower to middle class family, I think you just have to kind of scale it. Like maybe you just say, hey, if you get like some type of trade certificate or or an associate's degree, I mean that would make sense, right?
yeah, and you're right. And if we're looking at it just from a rich person's perspective, it it changes the framing of the scenario. But just looking at it again, just taking the middle class, I guess, out of the equation, if we were just looking at it in his scenario for his kids, I'm still not really on board with it because when it comes down to it, like I said, the whole thing with like someone else could be doing my job with no degree. It
Well, I mean, we don't have to
feels like if you're
get to our
forcing
literal personal lives.
if you're forcing your kids to get 2 degrees, even if you can fully afford it, and they get the degrees and then they can get the money, it just feels like it feels kind of pointless. Like the only thing that you've proved is that you have dedication, and
Right.
getting college degrees.
I think
big
so it's a big thing.
Okay.
It's not a slight
Okay,
thing.
yes, it's a big thing, but getting college degrees should not be the only thing that you can do to showcase that. I guess that's kind of my whole point. And it feels like it's been framed like that is the only way you can showcase it when it shouldn't be at all.
I mean, even if I concede or give that charitability to where that is true, I think somebody would make the case it is one of the most productive ways to showcase dedication.
Is it?
I mean, productive.
Is it productive? Is it
productive.
really?
Productive maybe isn't the right word. It is like it's the best.
It's the easiest kind of like.
Mm,
As,
I wouldn't.
Is it easy?
I wouldn't even say it's the easiest. It's like the surest proof of it if you complete it.
Okay, you're right. You're right. Y'all both right, but I'm saying it shouldn't be. Like it's been. You've just kind of been.
Yeah, I don't want to like keep going around conversations about what should or like. We're just
get
talking
it,
about like what is and like does this make sense based off of what is.
Yeah. I'm kind of off topic here, but it's really frustrating that like we can acknowledge it and say, yeah, it is kind of the proven method at this point in our society, but we
I mean, there's
shouldn't
nothing
be
wrong.
okay with that. We shouldn't be.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with venting frustrations. I mean, we weren't wholesale talking about specific college. That's why it's kind of
Yeah,
sus.
I
But
know, I know.
it's fine. I mean, there's a
I,
lot of things. There's a lot of things in life that
I
are
feel like if
messed
he had
up. But
said to his kids instead, like, if you're trying to start your own business and you have a good business model, you have a good foundation, you have a good plan, but you need the capital, you need the money or whatever, then that would also be a suitable thing where you don't need the college degree specifically, but you have a plan and goal for the rest of your life and you just need the money to bring it to fruition.
yeah, I don't. I don't
That
want to. I don't want to get into all the ins and outs of like starting a business, and depending on your background, your environment, your network, that can range from a task that takes a lot of hard work and dedication, but is very feasible to somebody that like they could they could be punching at that wall their entire life and it's never gonna crack. So I think I don't know. Whenever we get into the starting your own business conversation, like that needs a lot of like context before we can say like that's the proper route to showcase anything. Because like what is the metric of starting a business? Anyone can literally just go get an LLC. We can do that right away.
like I
But
said, they have to showcase they have a good business plan, a good business model. It's been thought out. Like they've put thought in. It's not a perfect method, but I'm just saying, like,
but
if you're saying they
what
have,
verifies it's a good plan? Just like little Timmy could.
he's a successful business man. He's worth millions. He could look at it and
Yeah, but there are people that are millionaires that try to start new businesses and they don't pop off.
yeah. I mean, again, it doesn't even mean that your business is going to succeed. It just means that you're putting the thought and the dedication into it.
You,
Like the
but I'm
point of
saying
it for me isn't that the business has to become successful. It's just it feels like if you're telling them you have to get 2 degrees or that's it, you're like boxing people in to
you're
a certain.
saying, and I want to let you go soon, but you're saying that presenting a good business plan that looks like it's good on paper is a better indication of hard work and dedication than college. 4 years, 5 years, 8 years of college.
I'm not saying it's better. I'm saying it can be an alternative to. The whole point is to show that you have the drive to deserve the money, right?
Yeah, so you'd want
Like,
something that's equivalent to the hard work and dedication of college.
I just,
I mean, if you like, that's why we're saying like that's why we're kind of saying it's like
you need to show.
the
You need
the
to show
a
that.
surefire or like that route, because if you do complete it, it shows even if you didn't gain anything from it, even if you net negative on the money, even if you barely did it, like the route to succeeding in college and getting that degree or getting those degrees is an incredibly hard road.
That's what I have a. That's what I have a problem with.
No one can discredit that.
That's what I have. Like, you're right, but why is that the only way to show it? Just
I
4 years
mean,
of banging
I
your
mean,
head against the wall.
I mean,
And then that shows
Ace
you have
asked you
dedication.
what are alternatives, and we weren't able to come up with a bevy of them that are equivalent.
Oh, if you hold the job, a job for any job for 4 years,
Any
I think
job,
that yes, any job
I can work
for the
at
equivalent.
I can work at a pizza shop rolling dough for 4 years, and that's equivalent to college.
It shows that. Bro, yes.
All right,
It shows.
That's
no,
wild.
now you lost it. Now you lost it. Now you lost me. I'm sorry.
You're showing that you. I'm kind of being facetious, but at the same time,
No,
you're
you gotta
showing
get
you have
unfacetious.
dedication to do a shit job that you don't enjoy.
A shit job in the grind of college is not in the one and the same. They're not equivalent.
Kind of are like. Again, a lot
No,
of college
kind of not.
a lot of college is pointless. Like you barely remember anything you really learned in college.
I mean, even if
It's all about just showcasing your soft skills. Really, you can work with other people. You can meet deadlines. You can do this. You can do that.
Maybe we should like what's the expression? Backseat this conversation, table this conversation until like another time because we're kind of getting off topic.
Yes.
We're not here to debate college here. Ace, what do you think about this style of parenting? You think it makes sense that you have to hold your children to a high standard before they can reap the benefits of your hard work?
Yes, I think outside of the specifics of this, the requirement being a degree in Guy Fieri's case, um, I do think like, especially for people with a lot of wealth, um, I think it's extremely important for them to hold their children to a high standard because the more wealth you grow up with, the easier you have it in life. I think the easier it is to like grow up with just a I don't know a character that kind of doesn't appreciate
Mm,
the hard work that even your own parents were put into to give you the life that you have. So yeah, I mean basically at the end, it's very easy to become spoiled. So
yeah.
um so yeah, I in general like I do agree with holding your children to a high standard and enforcing that in in a way like this like um um it coming down to basically inheriting his fortune. There's going to be requirements for that. I don't have any problem with that. I think that's a good idea. um and then like I think I'm trying to think if there's other ways that it could be done just off the top of my head. I mean, I think just looking back at my past, like my dad had me working with him from a young age, and up to the point where I was able to do certain things on my own, and when I got into high school. And I think that was very important in shaping like my concept of work and how to be productive
Hmm.
and and yeah, just in general like appreciating the things that he was doing day in and day out in order to put food on the table. So for a guy Fieri, his children, he has his brand, um, you know, and obviously he's known for being associated with like food and cooking and things like that. So I don't know if he's a chef or not. I'm not too familiar with him. I just know him
Actually, a
from
chef. You
well,
can't you can't just be a
yeah,
Food
I
Network
guess he does have
superstar without knowing how to cook.
yeah. So I mean that would be like the obvious thing in my mind is like have your children learn learn what you do, even if that's not necessarily what they want to do. They'll still get an appreciation for it. They'll get a skill,
Mm,
and yeah, and it'll build their character up from there. um as far as I don't think that would necessarily be the end though. Like in my mind, for getting the inheritance, just like working for me, uh, or working with me or whatever as you grow up. But um, I think that would at least be a start. Um, and then yeah, like in terms of the business thing, like Ghost was saying, um, maybe it's not just you have a business proposal, but it's that you did get to the point where you were able to run um maybe not like super successful business, but you have a business that is kind of is not collapsing basically, it's not going bankrupt, or you're able to sell a business for
yeah.
a certain amount of money, things like that. Like if you can prove that you can do things like that, then even if there's no college degree, you don't have a college degree, um, that I think that would probably be the an alternative route. But I do think it would be more. more difficult as well. I think it would be more difficult to get to the point where you're able to run a
A
business.
successful business, I actually would agree with that, and that's why I was like just bringing a plan about a business or having a quote unquote even a good plan. That's one
Yeah,
thing, but if you're running a successful business, I always say that's equivalent or greater than the time and effort that would go into college. Absolutely.
exactly. So, I mean, if you want to make your kids work harder, then yeah, that could be the requirement. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I tend to largely agree, and I think college is always going to be a relatively safe. Again, not talking about what you'll net gain, not talking about how you do or how you get there, but a safe way to test somebody when it comes to their critical thinking, their project management, their time management, all these facets. Like the actual things that you recall and the skills that you adapt in college. Maybe that's not going to one to one translate to when you get to your degree, but it does showcase a lot of hard work and dedication. And I think there are maybe not a whole lot of them, but there are other ways to demonstrate that ability, that dedication, that hard work. So yeah, I think that's what it really boils down to. I think, like you're saying, there's nothing wrong with putting your children through some level of growing up to become a productive member of society. Depending on the context of where your family is at, if you have a large fortune, then maybe put more pressure on them, but some level of, hey, you got to work hard for this. And not to say that if you're at a lower class, you don't have to work equally hard, but you might have to. You might be able to do it through less expensive methods. Although even starting a business could be expensive. Just based off your relative scale of life. For some people, what's the funniest thing? I've heard the same sentiment for parents saying that to their children for like high school. Like, hey, we've had an incredibly hard life. Like we're living in an environment where a lot of people don't even make it out. If you at least finish high school, I'm proud of you, and I'll impart whatever I can. So it really depends on what level we're talking about in life. And to a certain degree, even though I look back at a lot of the high school work that I used to do, I was such like a dumbass. Like literally just do it. The math it's like algebra. Like what's wrong with you? Uh, but me aside, yeah. So yeah, it's all within the context. But it is good to try to get your children in the mindset of, hey, life is always going to be hard, so you have to work hard for the things that you want. But if there's nothing else, we can move on to the next topic. I'm sure we'll have many more topics about college and higher education to where we can dig deep into that topic. That topic. And actually,
Oh, go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm kind of shocked at how like passionate Ghost is about it. Where it sounds like this is something you just constantly be thinking about.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Kind-
Like you never know what you are passionate
kind
about
of do me.
or strongly agree about till you bump into a topic. But I guess maybe you're thinking about it a lot. What I was gonna say is actually bring up the logic joint. I thought I had these in different order, but yeah, bring up the logic. That kind of is a better tie-in to something like this then. Salute to logic. I don't care what anybody says. I actually enjoy some of Logic's music. Obviously, the older music, the Young Sinatra mixtape era. But yeah, Logic is like far from that. He's a grown ass man. He's a successful artist. He's retired and come back. He's amassing a large amount of wealth, a large amount of fame. He's definitely a respectable individual in the community, regardless of what anybody says. And for a long time, he's always been outspoken in his ideals and the things that he looks forward to doing in life. But this interview that he did, which I believe took place on his podcast, the Logically Speaking podcast, he was speaking with his father. That's another thing I want to say real quick. Obviously, a lot of these things have nothing to do with the actual topic, but I always say time and time again, salute to Logic and salute to all the Logic looking brothers out there. Logic is 100% black, just like you and I. And once you look at the video that we're about to play, you'll see his literal father and the reason why he can say a certain word that you might catch in the clip that we're about to play.
Logic King, but he's biracial.
Okay. What does that have to do with the price of rice of
He doesn't claim
N-word?
he's black. He calls himself biracial. So he doesn't get to
Well, actually, biracial is a subsection of black, sir. Anyway,
come to him.
but yeah, the post says Logic breaks down the cost of living to his father and why he doesn't hand out money for them to burn through. And there's a couple parts to this, and I'm sure this is part of a larger podcast. So I don't know if we're gonna get through all of it, but this is actually it was actually interesting to watch. So maybe I might recommend it by the end of this. But let's listen to a little bit and maybe break it down piece by piece.
Spoke earlier, and that I know you've said things like, my son don't help me, my son don't help anybody, da-da-da. Respectfully, in a place I know that was said from ignorance, because there's also a big side of you that you know now, but you didn't know at the time. I have helped people in my family, and I've helped people outside of my family. I've helped people afford homes. I've helped the homeless. I've helped people in my black community. I've donated anonymously.
Oh, I know. I know all those things that you've done.
But let me finish. So what I'm saying is respectfully, Dad, you actually don't know all the things that I've done, because most people don't know all the things that I've done, because I don't exploit the fact that I give, let alone to my black community. I'm not out here trying to prove my blackness. I'm not a nigga who goes to the hood with a fucking turkey every Thanksgiving and throws it out. I'm not. That's not who I am. So with that being said, Daddy, when we spoke earlier today, I know there's a lot of motherfuckers even in our, when we spoke earlier.
Man. Yeah, this ain't the kid gloves Logic that you might know and love. This is a big grown ass man Logic speaking on, how he does in fact give out to his community, to the community, and he's just to give you a taste. This is the type of energy he's on throughout this entire thing, and like I said, he's speaking with his father and being very realistic in his view on his perception, not his perception, but his reality when it comes to how he gives and how people interact with him, and what people may or may not know, even his own little father. What happened? Did something he said make you laugh at it?
It's always the comments.
One commenter said, I'm assuming you're looking at this comment, unless you're scrolling, so looking at something else. Y'all debating this man's ethnicity with his black father sitting across from him, completely missing the conversation about boundaries, breaking general crushes, and parents. This is funny.
I thought you were talking about a stream comment.
It's just the fact that I looked at the comments because I was like, I wonder what people are thinking about how Logic is approaching this conversation and things like that. And the first thing is that people are debating the race in the comments.
Oh, you're laughing at what the comments are even about.
Yeah.
Hey, man. Yeah, that's crazy. If anyone's talking about whether he's quote unquote black or brown on this his literal father. Anyway, let's keep going.
It's his fault.
Family who could be like, oh, Bobby don't, he got all this money, he got millions of dollars, but he don't want to help nobody, he don't want to buy nobody a house. Well, hold up, let's just step back real quick. And I'm gonna say all this, and it's not gonna be a one-sided conversation, Dad, I promise you. But this, I just want to get this out, and I want to say it, and I really want to go back and forth, and I want to have fun. I want to laugh, and I want to have a good time, but I just want to say this because it's very important to me. There was a time when you came to me, asked me for $850,000 to buy you a house studio for you and your band. Now, I've also had my sister ask me to buy her a house. I've had my brothers ask me to give them money. I've given tens of thousands of dollars to my brothers and my sisters, and I've seen them piss it away. So when you do the math, right, and we did the math earlier today, It's you, it's my mama, it's my brother, it's my sister, it's my other sister, it's my other sister, it's my other sister, it's my other brother, it's my other brother. That's 9. Now let's not talk about how many fucking kids, family, who could be like, oh, Bobby don't.
First of all, what is a other brother and an other brother and other brother? Why wouldn't you just say my brothers?
It's got to be like a step sibling situation or something. I don't know why he would frame it like that.
Fair enough. So yeah, he's starting to get into the shits. Like, hey man, damn it, everyone in our family is like be asking for money, and like you add that up, and it's a bill like a 10,000 here, a father asking for $800,000. Damn, we were having a conversation on one topic where we're talking about would you lend a brother $150 for a date? Imagine somebody's asking for hundreds of thousands of dollars. So yeah, he's like you said, he's impassionately talking about, how he basically like we're saying, giving the breakdown of what this looks like. And just because, again, Logic is a relatively successful artist, like at a certain point, if the bills keep coming in, just like no, you can be Drake rich, but if everyone like in your circle asks for a handout or asks for money, it's gonna dry up. And especially if they're quote unquote pissing it away. Let's see what else he has to say.
All these people got, but let's just talk about those 9 people.
Yeah.
So if I'm gonna buy y'all a decent house, that's $500,000. That's for 2 people, 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, $4.5 million just to purchase that, let alone mortgage, let alone other bills that come into that. Now, okay, you got a house, so then what? That's 9 houses. Let's talk about 9 vehicles. Let's talk about 9 cars that I got to pay for. Let's talk about 9 gas bills a month I got to pay for. Let's talk about 9 AT&T fucking bills I got to pay for. 9 Comcast bills, HBO bills. I'm gonna keep going. Cause guess what? If I'm paying all this money, ain't nobody on welfare no more. Niggas ain't fucking broke no more. So they ain't on welfare. They ain't on food stamps. That's 9 people I got to pay for food for. That's 9 people I got to pay for vacations for. Now, let's also talk about the fact that a majority of your children and my mother's children all have children. So let's duplicate that much all these people got. But
I keep saying it. But first of all, if you buy somebody a house, do you also have to buy them a car and pay for their internet bill? Is that how that goes?
Well, I mean, if you're doing that for them, they're gonna ask. That's the first thing, and the second thing is that if you're buying them a house, they're probably gonna feel like, oh, I don't need to get a job because I want you to hold it down.
How are you gonna pay for the thing to put in the house?
Dog, if you asking someone to buy you a house, you're not. I'm just telling you right now, they are not going to be thinking about furniture and I still have to pay my property tax and shit like that. They're gonna be thinking, oh, he bought me a house. That means he can do the rest of the stuff too.
If someone buys you a literal house, and you're not gonna work, you're just like you're just homeless in the house. Why would
you're looking at it from a logical standpoint? But if you're
so it's a logic, yeah, I would be looking. What,
bro? If you're asking someone to buy you a whole house, you already have to have that frame of mind.
But that's the ask. The house.
You listen to the whole podcast, right?
Huh?
You listen to the whole podcast?
No, not this. I listened to this, and there's another topic we're going to have because he gets very emotional and like so he starts to break down like his because his father and his relationship hasn't always been good. Sorry.
Yeah, I can kind of tell from this interview, but no, I was just gonna say, like, if his father denied these things, which I don't know if he does when Logic lets him talk, then I would agree that maybe they wouldn't ask for the rest of this stuff, but I can kind of see Ghost's point where like Logic is probably speaking from experience in terms of the things that people have asked of him.
No, I believe it, and I'm kind of just talking, but like, he's kind of coming from like, hey, this is like the breakdown of what I've either had to do or the requests of people, and like they're just taken from me, but at the same time, if like, do we not put onus on the giver? Like, at what point would you not say, hey, okay, I will give you this thing, but that's the thing I'm going to give you. I'm not giving you an entire life.
It doesn't. Again, you're looking at it from a perspective of a person that's responsible and that handles their own business. But I've dealt with family members on a
and we're gonna get to that. I know we've all listen. I know.
I'm just telling
you, we're gonna get there.
I'm just It's never gonna stop. If you give him one thing, it's never gonna stop.
Another point too is if his goal is to have people like, I mean, basically stop saying he's not giving them anything. I agree. It probably does not stop at the house. Like it's gonna be,
And
okay, you bought us a house, but come on, we know you got more. You can help us out with the mortgage. You can help us out with the.
and that's the thing. And I mean, there's a little more to listen to. So I mean, I don't know if it's worth getting to the topic, but and that's the thing. Like, what is the point of giving somebody something, especially somebody that you love? It's so that you know, help your fellow like brother, mother, person of your community, and it should be a relatively selfless thing. If you are going to give somebody something or give multiple people something, some things, and you know, if you're feeling like you didn't get the appreciation that you think you was warranted, maybe that's one thing. But if you're going to give these things and then like come back later and said, I had to give this one, this, that, like, why did you give them that in the first place? If you're going to come back and complain about it.
I don't think that's a fair framing of what. I don't know if you're talking about logic in general or
I'm talking about in general, but it's based off how he did it. I mean, like, I might be off, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. But is he not?
I don't think that's accurate because
is he? He's not coming at this from a positive. He's not coming at this from. He's not saying like, "Hey, I did these things. I had no issue with doing them. I would do it again."
Exactly. No. But he said earlier in the thing, he has given people stuff and he has done X, Y, and Z. And he didn't go into details on those specific things. He's just, this is a different scenario he's going through, where if he was to give someone this, it would cover a whole list of other expenses. Like, I don't.
But why would he even go through this list like this in this manner if it wasn't from a perspective of, hey, this is like almost the expectation that I would have on me if and when I've done this thing?
Yeah, that's.
I mean, he's giving what the realistic cost would be, which is the thing that the other people aren't considering. I think that's the point.
Yeah, okay.
And it's like
I can get
putting
on
it in
board
a
with that.
perspective of is like it would literally be impossible for me to do and sustain. I mean, once you get into numbers,
I agree with that. So why would it even be a plan? Like, why would it even be in his mind that, or a person's mind that I'm going to continually give everything down to like the dog
He's
food
not saying
bill?
he's going to give it. He's saying that people are asking for it, and if he gives one person that, he's going to have to give these other 9 people that same.
First of all, you don't have to do that. Like, people
Come on,
people are not equal.
Quest, you're telling me if you, I don't know how to phrase. If you would give something to one of your siblings and not the rest of them,
I mean,
people
maybe
not being equal,
maybe not being
something to your siblings but not your parents, you would split it like no,
yes.
That's not how people work. That's not how people work. That's not how people work.
Well, you asked me a question. Yes, like there are tiers. Like when it comes to siblings and when it comes to like parents, I think you do have to keep that relatively equal. But from parents to siblings to maybe cousins to maybe like friends, like
okay, yeah,
not everyone's equal. Like
that's fair. I'm talking about specifically about the siblings because again, you said if you give it to one sibling, you don't have to give it to
okay. All right, I generally unless I'm admitting you're right. Unless somebody's like really like tweaking, yes,
there's exceptions.
On the tier of whatever tier that is, you would want to keep things consistent. I agree.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I definitely understand what you guys are saying. I would just I'm listening to this, and it sounds like he's not in a pleasant or positive mind about the potential of having to do these things. And in my mind, I'm just like, if I'm ever going to even fix my thoughts to be like, I gotta do this, that, then I would just cap it to where like, okay, if I do this for you, if I buy you a house, this is the thing. This is the extent of what I'm going to give you. If I buy you a car, that's the extent of what I'm going to give you. If you do need help with your bills from time to time, that can be a thing that's like morphs into, bills helping out. But I don't think you should ever, unless it's like your family or your literal siblings that you would do anything for. I don't think they should even have the mindset of, hey, I'm going to pay for your entire life consistently at the point.
Well, okay, so you can say that. You can tell
because that kind of goes back to the other topic of like just giving somebody something with what what is the point of giving somebody something?
But it's not even about
It didn't work.
that, because okay, if you give someone, like, let's just say the house, you tell someone, I'm gonna give you a house and I'm gonna pay for it, it's gonna be all set. Cool. And then you say, but beyond this, I'm not giving you a car, I'm not planning on giving you anything else. That's, you establish that off the bat, you set your boundaries.
Yep.
I'm telling you, and I'm sure you know as well,
Mm-hmm.
people, if they see that you are rich, they think that you got it, they think you're not going to miss the money, a lot of people are going to come back and ask more. And it might not be just a greed thing, it might be, oh, I got the house, but I didn't anticipate the upkeeping costs, I didn't anticipate the property tax, I didn't anticipate this or that, I'm far from my job than I thought I'd be, I need a car. It might not be coming from a place where they're trying to be greedy about it, it just might be they can't handle the responsibility. So are you going to then, if they're in that position, are you going to cut them off and say, nope, I told you this and you're not going to get any done the dime from me?
Well,
Would you feel comfortable doing that? Because
well,
for the answer for a lot of people, I'm not just adding you specifically, I'm just saying, for
yeah.
a lot of people, the answer is going to be no, you're not comfortable. You're going to feel some level of obligation, even if you shouldn't, you're going to feel some level of obligation to continue that help, because you, in some sense, you have a better capacity for it than they would. And if you don't, then they're going to end up struggling and they're going to be in a bad spot.
I
And
would.
that's how it works.
I would 100%. I 100% understand. Like, life isn't like as simple as 1, 2, 3. It is complexities, and I think, yeah, things can come up, and also, you might even establish something at one point, and then, given the circumstances, at another point in time, you do feel inclined. Hey, I will give more or do more. I completely understand that. I don't think it's good asking me, because if you guys know me and some of the conversations that I've had with like family or people, I pretty am strong in my boundaries. Like, if I say something, it's probably not shifting unless it's an emergency. That being said, I do think if I ever did something like this, I don't think you'd ever hear me complaining about it. Is the only thing. But that's fine.
I mean,
It's
the
I don't
thing
think
is,
it's
don't
fair to
see it
call
as-
this a complaint.
Yeah, he's not complaining. He basically, in my assessment, what
This
he's
is like
doing
this
right
is
now.
this is a tier below. He's getting off his chest. He's
No. What I think he's doing is he's saying, this is why my boundary is here. This is why I'm not giving you this amount of money to buy a house. I'm laying it out. This is the reasoning. He's not complaining. He's just he set his boundary, and he's saying why it's there.
All right, you're right. It could poke at that, but it's not worth it, because that is literally what he's doing. He's explaining why I'm not just gonna give you the exorbitant amount that you're asking for. All right, I'm rolling. I guess we'll just kind of finish out the clip, and I mean, we kind of talked about a large portion of what this revolves around. This has been a good conversation, but yeah, we can just finish it out.
Motherfucker times about however much that is. Fuck that. Fuck that shit. And unfortunately, I've learned
This
when
ain't
I
complaining?
give 10,000 here, 5,000 here of cash to somebody, and then they blow it, and then they don't got nothing.
They don't use it right.
And then they look at me like I fucked up or I did something wrong, and then they come back and they ask me again and again and again. Now, as a fucking millionaire who has broken that cycle, made it out the hood, educated myself, and understand what it means to be self-sufficient, there is no way as a fucking man that I could ever, as much as it hurts me to see the people that I love struggle, give them money and watch them just burn it to nothing again. So I say all that to say, Daddy, I love you with all my heart, and the only reason I ain't never given you a crazy amount of money is because I didn't want to see you blow it. Motherfucker times about however much.
Hey man, it's not complaining, but it ain't all peaches and roses. Yeah. So like we've established, listening to these clips, he is effectively breaking down, the cost of supporting others, family members that you do want to see them thrive, and as somebody that has something, you do want to share your wealth and your resources. But at the same time, like he's saying, different facets of this could make him not want to, people not being appreciative, people burning it away. Like you gave them an exorbitant amount of money, and then they come back to you and say, "Hey, I don't got nothing. What did you do with the money I gave you?" Yeah, it's a long. It could be a long list of reasons why somebody could feel like this. And I guess like so we largely talk about it, but and we could. I easily imagine we could. Like I was kind of thinking of some of the examples even I am aware of. We could get into like our experiences with it, but we want to keep things relatively, on a surface level. What do you guys? What are some of y'all conclusive thoughts on what Logic was saying, and in general, the dynamic of supporting family? Do you think it's like a it has like it's a damn near right type of thing where it's effectively owed, and it just is what it is type of thing? Or do you think there's nothing wrong with establishing boundaries, especially based off how you feel in prior interactions? What do you say, Ace?
Yeah, I mean, it is not black and white. And I mean, I think we all pretty much agree that in terms of our immediate circles, like we're going to give what we can if somebody needs it. As in our, especially in our family. Um, at the same time, I think this is a good way to highlight um how you could approach setting those boundaries. Like at the end of the day, if you're not able to do it for whatever reason, if you're not able to give, you're not able to give. But in order to help somebody see why, if they are come if they if there's somebody that would like be receptive to just logic,
No pun
um
intended.
yeah, no pun intended. um like people in general necess- do not think about their own finances in a like critical way. So now coming at it from someone else's perspective, where you're asking somebody for money because you just think that they have it. um I think this is a good way to break down, like, I don't really have it, um when you look at it in the grand scheme of not just you but everybody else
Yeah,
um that I would, need to or not need to, but be like compelled to support if I kind of like give an inch.
yeah.
Um so yeah, and that like I think it's this was a good way to like shed light on that from his perspective, from the perspective of the person that would be giving.
Even the tone.
Yeah, even the tone. I mean, even the tone, because it, I think I would imagine that his father, after laying it out in this logical way, his father can understand why he would have that tone. I think that's why he's probably comfortable even having that tone in front of his father, because he's laying it out in a very like logical way. This is why I can't do it. And even you yourself, I think that's the point. Like even you yourself would understand and um experience this same, like, I don't know, consternation about the situation. Like, yeah, maybe I want to give, but it's just not. It doesn't make sense.
Hmm.
So I think that's where the tone. I think that's more so where the tone is coming from. Um, just like getting his point across. Like, even if you were in my situation, you would agree. Like,
Yeah.
just stop. It don't make sense.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And what about you, Gus? What are your final thoughts about this and the dynamics of having to give resources and money to your family?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of talked about it a little already, but I'm pretty much on logic side with this. And I mean, it's a very difficult thing to decide both that you're going to establish a cutoff point or cutoff and where that cutoff point is. And I think, like Ace said, he did a very good job of laying it out specifically why he's not doing all that some people think he should be. But again, it's kind of different from person to person, and I don't necessarily think that if you're a family member, you automatically should get a piece of the pie, however big that piece is.
Damn, even
I
blood related?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think there generally, like, if you're family, like, especially if you're siblings and parents, unless you've done something crazy, you're just kind of gonna you're gonna want to see them do well. You're gonna give them some piece of it. That's just how it is. But if someone's done something to not deserve it, and I think we're gonna get into it at some point, but it, it sounds like Logic had some experiences with his father that might have maybe led to him not deserving some things.
Yeah, that'll be on another
Like,
podcast, but yeah.
oh, okay, yeah, I guess we'll table that aspect of it. But just if you've done some shady stuff or some things that are not acceptable, you shouldn't expect getting. You should really shouldn't expect getting anything just because you're blood related. Like, it's hard to get below that threshold of your family, so you're getting something regardless. Once you hit it, then yeah, it shouldn't just be a no matter what thing.
And you know, the thing is, I think about this, and again, we've all had some level of experience, you know, on a way smaller. No one's asking us for hundreds of thousands of dollars. But it's so interesting. Like, we're really just three stoners here talking about this, and you know, obviously, this has come from our life experiences, and you know, I'm assuming, you know, even people, you know, older people in our lives have, you know, inputted this into us. But why can we grasp the concepts of like, hey, you know, we're not owed anything. You know, we have to work hard for the things that we want in life. But we at the same time we're also very receptive to you know, giving out when in pretty much what we can. Like, if we have it, we will give it if we can. Like, does that concept not, or it's not attached to it, like damn near everybody?
Because we're built different.
No, I don't necessarily think it's that. Of course, like I don't think I would be hitting up somebody like if I knew somebody super wealthy, super famous, like a Logic. Say I don't know, say it was my brother. I don't think I would be hitting them up for money every other day, or you know,
Is it?
even or for an exorbitant amount of money.
Uh,
But at the same time, this like it does feel a bit eye opening to put it in for Logic to have put it in this perspective. Like, I have not thought about um I've not thought about it from the perspective of the person with the exorbitant amount of money. It's not something that I've had to think about, so it's not something I've thought about.
right.
Um
Yeah.
so yeah. So um I'm just saying that to say it's 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 not necessarily that I had the full concept of why a person with a large amount of wealth um wouldn't, you know, help out, you know, this person over here that's asking for it, and or complaining that that you know, their rich cousin or whatever or brother isn't helping them out. Like, I haven't thought through the whole thing like Logic is kind of laying it out here.
Yeah, I get that, but I'm talking about on both ends. Like, I couldn't see any of us like foregoing putting in our own blood, sweat, and tears and time into building something for our own, opposed to like asking somebody for a handout. Like, we're just not the ask for a handout type of people. Unless I'm mistaken.
Yeah,
I don't. It's like you. It's just you. I don't know if you can explain it. I mean, it's just how some people are, and
I mean, it might be just a thing that's embedded in some people. Like, I don't like to reduce things down to being built different. But I mean, if we could understand it and be able to articulate it, maybe you can convey it to somebody that's not really getting it. Like, hey, this is what life's about. Life is about. And I'm not even trying to say that's what it is. Like, life is about, you know, doing for yourself. But like, like it sounds like the people that he's describing, and that's where it does get to your point where it's a different ballpark. If you are dealing with somebody that's close to your family that is like relatively successful, and maybe even if you help them to get to that point, maybe then it would maybe start to feel some level of, hey, it makes sense for if I'm in a time of need to help me out. But again, on a smaller scale, it could be like the one homeboy that finally got a nice job in the family, like a upper 5-figure job, and then the family's like, all when the holidays come around, the family's looking at him like, hey, I heard you got that bonus. Could really use a new Apple Watch, iPad, iPhone, iMac. like there are some people in life, and I don't mind. This is nothing personal. I'm not even trying to slander anybody. There's some people in life that when they see somebody doing well, that means I'm doing well. When I don't think we think like that.
Yeah, I mean, it had to come from how we were brought up, I guess. I can't pinpoint it. And there was, I mean, when I was younger, that I definitely had, had like, what do you call it? Just stuff that I wanted that I couldn't necessarily get on my own, and wanted my parents to get me.
Yeah, I think it's a way different conversation when we talk about kids. Like kids, you don't even understand the dynamics of money to really understand why you might not be able to get certain things.
Yeah, but it had to have changed at some point. Like that mentality had to have changed. And I'm trying to think like what in particular changed it from where I stopped expecting
Yeah,
from my parents, and on the other side would rather be able to give to them.
that's what I'm
I'm trying
saying.
to
Honestly, I think it just boils down to like I feel like at some point every kid has that experience where their mindset shifts, but it just boils down
Apparently,
to
it's not
are you
every kid.
willing.
Yeah,
Well, no,
exactly.
here's the thing. I think that everyone is kind of aware of it, but it becomes a balancing act of, is your knowledge of that more important, or is your willingness to not be a selfish person? I don't even want to say selfish, but just a person that's demanding like that or has that mindset. Are you willing to put that aside to look at it from a empathetic or selfless standpoint, where what if you were in this position, etc.? And a lot of people can't put that aside because it's just envy and jealousy and many reasons. But I don't think you can classify or quantify why.
I mean,
I
maybe
think
maybe
how we were brought up, but
maybe it's the engineer in me, but I like understanding like the root cause of things. But it's
I think
fine. We can.
I do remember when I started to think about it the most, and that was when my parents were helping put me through college. Like they were giving a
Mm,
lot of money to put me through college, and I didn't. I think it might have come more from a place of wanting to be independent. Like I
yep.
didn't want to have to rely on my parents for getting me through college or getting me through life anymore. Like I wanted to be able to do that on my own.
So
But
maybe so maybe some people don't have that. I don't know if it's natural but inclination to be dependent. Some people can live a comfortable life with being dependent.
yeah, yeah, maybe that's it. Cause I definitely could not. Like I definitely could not.
Yeah, yeah. That's interesting. I'm trying to think for myself. I feel as if just based the way I was brought up, I've like probably wasn't since I was a really young kid where I had like expectations of like, hey, I if I ask for this thing, I should be getting it. Like
Right,
that's not
right.
how that ain't how I grew up. Like I
Mm,
understand from a young age where hey, if I want something at some point, I'm gonna have to get it by any means necessary on my own.
mm.
Um, but it is an interesting concept, and I think one that's worth kind of thinking about and maybe coming back to one day.
Yeah, and
I,
I think it has evolved too. Like for me now, it's not so much the independence because I've had that for years at this point. But
for some of us
now
decades.
but looking back on it, or looking at it from my perspective now, it's more so that I I wouldn't I don't think I would necessarily want like the easy way, because there's very little growth, like just general character growth, um growth in um I don't know, like mentality, if you're just given everything that you want. Like um it's
You
to
know,
me now it's like
you might unlock something there. I think for some people, even though some things in life are very strenuous, very arduous, it really is kind of grueling and grinding. I think you would kind of get some level of satisfaction of doing it on ourselves. And
yeah.
maybe some people don't do it because even like take it out of resources, maybe you're doing something like job related, or maybe you're like there's something, just maybe something that needs to be fixed, or like around the house, something like that. Like I can speak for myself. If I do my own like little research and I figure out how to resolve this thing or how to make something, like there is a benefit in there. I feel like I used some critical thinking and I came to a conclusion how to resolve this thing,
Yeah.
opposed to if somebody just, hey, plug that in there, do this, that. I mean, it's cool, but maybe I'm not gonna feel the same level of achievement.
Yeah, it's like you took the easy way out, and there was like life experience that could have been had. Like you're avoiding like living kind of by taking the easy way out and just getting everything for free. That's kind of how I look at it. It's hard for me to articulate, but that's more so the perspective that I have on it now.
I definitely can relate to that. I'm again, a lot of this kind of does come back to maybe you either have to have it or don't have it, which I don't like that to
True,
be the
true.
moral of the story. I don't know, man. But again, it's not gonna be the last time I feel as if we're gonna talk about it, so it's fine for now. Yeah, salute to Logic. I think I would say, yeah, this whole entire episode, or his maybe channel, or whatever the case may be, it's worth the watch. Obviously, Logic is a intelligent individual. And the last thing I'll mention, like you also got to keep in mind, this is coming from the perspective of like a man that has a whole lot of family himself. So he's not just like a solo dolo guy out here that has millions in disposable income. He's also has his own roles and responsibilities in life to take care of. So I think that's also something people have to keep in mind, that people have their own stuff going on. They like we all have our own stuff. We all got kids to feed. So it's biggie.
This was an
Did he
interesting
ever
conversation.
say why he? I don't know if it's a podcast or what this is, but is there a reason why he's doing this, having this conversation in front of the camera?
Maybe that'll go into the topic of when we watch the other thing, because again he gets really emotional and really in his bag
Yeah,
about
like I saw
certain
a clip
things.
of that, and it's
I
just
I think what it boils down
strange.
to is like, and we're kind of in the same maybe stratosphere. There are some conversations that are worth having that maybe are needed to be having, and maybe it's kind of like a counseling session, or like almost like a conversation you have in a counseling session, but using it as content or turning it into content, you get more people to glean something from it.
Yeah, I will say, like, I was just gonna say that this is this is very interesting to see, like, um to see somebody else have this type of conversation with their father, because I don't have conversations like this, but I talk to my dad on a regular basis, one on one, and to just I don't know, to see it from somebody else's perspective is interesting. Like somebody that's completely different walk of life, in a completely different place in their life, has had completely different experience with their father. To have to to see this, maybe it doesn't necessarily benefit me per se, but uh, maybe a younger me this would benefit, because the having these type of conversations with um like with my dad, it's not necessarily something that I thought was it's not like something I prioritized when I was younger, but now I understand um how important it is, and maybe there's other people who do not at this point, like
Yeah.
not, and they could benefit from seeing it, and like seeing, maybe I can level with my dad, or maybe we can have these difficult conversations. Like that's kind of my perspective on it.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really reasonable take on it, and a lot of people can get something from that. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like the highest priority. Like again, like I don't think the main idea is, hey, we're gonna have 1 million people see this video or whatever the case may be. I think the conversation in itself is the main thing. But if we can, have it on record, other people can watch it, glean from it, maybe even be entertained, like how we say at the end of our thing. But I think it has some value of showcasing in front of a larger audience. Just because you don't get value from it doesn't mean
I don't agree.
Is what
I think
is what boils down
I don't
to.
agree at all.
I mean, you're saying you don't get what it's getting, but
I don't agree with y'all's stand. But again, that's just me being a hater. I think a podcast hater specifically is what it really boils down to.
Yeah, fair enough. I guess I'll let that go, because I think that's a weird way to frame it. You don't get the same thing, or you don't get what he's describing. I don't think you can just, I don't know what you're disagreeing to, but anyway, against Loose Logic, I'm not opposed to this type of content from Logic either. Like, I would maybe turn down the tone, but that's just me.
Would y'all ever post a one-on-one conversation with your pops like this and put it out?
That's actually as somebody that can kind of relate to Logic, that's like the first question.
You do this for content. You would have a. Sorry, I'm being a hater again.
Yeah, the tone. I don't know what the why like you asked me a question.
You're on a podcast.
That's like the first question I've been asked in a while that I don't inherently have the answer off the top of my head, because I don't inherently know if it's like I would even want that. I'm not. I have literally no disdain towards my father, like a zero at all. But at the same time, I am leaning towards what you're thinking about, Ghost, in the sense that, like, I don't know if I would want this to be a content thing. I don't know if it would inherently make sense to me. But I am more of a content brain person in my space line now. So maybe I'd have to like think about it for a bit, and then maybe I'd be like, it's ask me off face value. I'm not 100% sure.
I think for me the consideration would be whether I think other people could get anything from it, and
who cares about other people?
What? If it's not about other people, why would you make it public? That's literally the whole point.
I'm saying, like, why do you care about other people enough to make it?
We are making a podcast. What are you talking about? This is wild.
Right. Y'all might have to mute my mic for the rest of the night, because I'm just in a very haterish mood. And
well, we can't, because we have one more topic, and let's actually get to that topic.
We can move on. I don't get it, man.
Yes. Now, if you know anything about us on this podcast, I don't really like to talk about like recent events. Every day there's a viral thing going on. Somebody's on TikTok sharing their life or sharing their story. Somebody did a dance. Somebody did a crate challenge. Somebody's doing something dumb. And I don't know. To me, I'm just so like, I don't want to say above it, but it's beyond me. Like I don't really give anything that's going viral at any point in time really much attention, especially since a lot of these things I inherit, like, it doesn't come as a shock to me. I haven't been shocked by a recent event in a while. But when some time passes, some months, some weeks, whatever the time period whatever the time period. Then I like to come back and see if we can actually. Now, I don't like hype. Once the hype is gone, let's get to that. That's what I like. So I say that all to say, you probably heard about these individuals. A Philadelphia couple who went viral for showing off their storage unit home gets kicked out. We were just trying to survive. An unhoused Philadelphia couple, Leland Brown Jr. and his partner, recently gained attention on social media when they showcased their unique living situation in a storage unit. However, the newfound online fame led to an unexpected consequence as the building's manager took action against them, resulting in their eviction. Despite the setback, the couple remains hopeful and seeking support to secure a stable living situation for themselves and their 7-year-old son. So, we'll get to that. Some of that. Let's like I said, they, again, you probably seen these couple. They did some TikToks that went extremely viral of themselves living in a storage unit. Yes, a little storage unit. So let's see some of what they've experienced or what they're going through. I think it's in order, but we might have to start. Let me see. I didn't look at this before we started the thing, but scroll over. Part 2. Is there a part 1? We're preparing. Keep going. Part 3. Okay, so you can go start from the beginning. Okay.
I live in a storage unit because it's cheap in comparison to an apartment. Living here is actually really comfortable. I get a lot of things that I need and want to get done here. I can exercise.
First of all,
I can use the bathroom. I can play music anywhere in the unit.
No, you can't.
It's climate controlled in here, so it's nice and warm. This unit is 24 hours, so I can come here anytime I want, stay here as long as I need to. We can take naps if we need to and go to sleep. So this is our living space.
First of
Very,
all,
very
that woman don't know she's
The
on.
next goal is to
Sorry.
get an RV. The next goal after that, tiny home. And if we want to eat, I just cook right out front. Or we'll just
Sorry, I shouldn't be talking during that thing. Does anyone have any comments, questions, or concerns based off this clip?
I have plenty, but we can continue.
No, get it off your heart. Get it off your chest.
We'll get into it, but I'm gonna be a hater again. Just giving you a heads up.
What is there to hate about? You have a young man. He expressed that
We'll get into it.
This is a cheaper living arrangement than living in an apartment, which is true. We know the cost of rent is out of control these days. The cost of rent is too damn high, like their brother said. He's living with his partner and apparently a child, which is, I don't know about you putting a child. I think CPS would come knocking. I don't know what they're knocking.
I pray and hope it's not a child.
Amen. He has all the amenities that he would need. The bathroom, which
that's all true.
Which is really the only amenity he really has. I guess he has warmth in there too. He has space. Again, that whole space. The only thing, that whole space is not for him. I think that's where he got is too big. He got too big for his britches. You shouldn't be not running around in a storage unit playing music. Like, that's not all. You don't live at. Well, obviously you don't live, but you don't own the entire storage unit. You own one compartment of the storage unit.
That's all fine. Why the hell are you stupid enough to post it on TikTok?
That is what the topics.
Why the hell?
The topic surrounds.
Sorry.
So we'll get there.
Continue.
But let's see. More of what they got going on.
inside of the unit. Sandwiches. A lot of times we make salad. If we want to get power, we use our power bank. They also have power here, so we can charge our power bank. Me and my baby will live here as long as we need to until we get the shelter that we want. Because we're living here, now we can save up more money to get what we really want. We're in it for the long haul. Thank you for the support. Thanks for watching.
Wait, hold up. I got to take a quick break.
All right. We'll be right back. Keep me out of LA.
Nigga, do you really want duck? Do you want to eat it? Go on, try your luck. Dip the duck. Flip the duck. Fuck the duck up. I don't give a fuck. Hurry up. Eat the duck up. Don't eat the dick up, bitch. Eat the duck up, bitch. Stop playing. Hurry up. Try your luck up, bitch. Yeah. Get it out. Suck up, bitch. Yeah. Hurry up. Shut the fuck up, bitch. Eat the duck up. Eat the duck up. That's what we gonna do. We gonna fry the whole duck up. Eat the whole duck. Go on here. Eat the duck up. Pour the grease on the duck, bitch. Cook the duck up. Duck. Yeah, duck, duck, goose. I don't give a fuck, bitch. I'm eating caboose. Coming through this bitch, go on here, give me juice. I want some guapa juice. I want some duck juice, duck sauce. Yeah, that's what I like. Duck sauce. Bitch, hurry up and bite. Duck sauce. Bitch, that duck looking good. Yeah, I got this duck cooked in the fucking hood. There go the sauce. Bitch, put the season on it. Get the greeting on it. Give me some duck. Love me some duck. Eating some duck. I don't give a fuck. I want me some duck. Give me some duck. Put some peppers on the duck. Give me some duck. Cocaine on the duck. I don't give a fuck.
Right, I'm
I
ready.
put the cheese on the duck, bitch. Huh?
Everything straight?
Yeah.
All right. You know, if I didn't have this be right back screen, we wouldn't be able to take no breaks. How do I get out of it though? There we go. We're back. Okay, so what happened? Anyway, yeah. So the guys live in it. We have. I mean, this is not much talk, but the guys living there. He for some reason went on TikTok and showed his life. And I say for some reason, but I think we're all conscious enough to know the digital age that we're in, where everything and anything and everything is showcased on the internet for people's consumption. So let's not act all surprised.
This kind of goes back to my point from last topic.
Yeah, but the thing is, the consequence that this brother is about to face is not the same a consequence that Logic or somebody else would face. And let's see the consequence of what happened. And it says the unfortunate result of there you go.
The higher ups found out about my video and went so viral. We ended up getting kicked out. Now we're just trying to figure out where to go and what we're gonna do with all of our stuff. We're gonna have to get a new storage unit. So yeah, we got kicked out.
Look at the solution.
I don't know what to do.
She
right
look
now.
pissed.
We're trying to figure it out. It's a lot. It's a lot of uncertainty. We can't live here anymore. And we can't make videos in here anymore. Now all we have is a tent, and it's freezing cold outside. Just can't live in a storage unit anymore. Figured I was gonna get kicked out, but I'm willing to take risks. You know, have a crazy come up, a great come up. And it was a risk. I was willing to take it so I can get out of here. Now we got a free hotel. After getting kicked out of the storage unit, now we got a free hotel. It's so cold outside. We don't have to stay outside in the cold.
Not only can we get out of the cold for the weekend, but we can also use this time to figure out what we're gonna do next, where we're gonna put our storage at, and who we can call to help us. We're also gonna be making a lot of money moves while we're here.
Wait.
What?
Where did the freehold? What?
Now we start to get to what, you know, the relative point of the topic is. So, you know, along with, you know, us living in a digital age comes the fact that clout can be converted into cash, as we all know. So, you know, obviously, maybe the thing will specify. Scroll up a bit more. Because I don't know the entire concept of all this. Leland Brown Jr.'s parents found themselves without a home and decided to make the most of the situation by turning a self-storage unit into, I can't read all of that, obviously,
Oh, I thought you wanted
into a temporary living home. Their video showcasing the comfortable setup, complete with their furniture and amenities, in a viral TikTok garnering over 11 million views. Brown explained that their intention was to save money while working towards finding a more permanent home. So they had good intentions. You know, I don't have any rent. How much does it cost for a storage unit? Somebody look that up real quick. Unfortunately, the online couple popularity caught the attention of a storage unit manager leading the storage unit manager. He's like, hey, wait a minute. They're from Philadelphia? I know that storage unit. Leading to eviction. In the video posted on January 19th, Brown shared the news with his followers, expressing uncertainty about the next steps. However, a kind-hearted individual stepped in. Somebody that saw their TikTok had sympathy for these individuals, probably lived in the Philadelphia area. Kind-hearted individual stepped in and arranged for the couple to stay in the hotel for a few days, providing them with some much-needed respite. So we got kicked out of our storage unit. The higher-ups found out about my video. Of course, they found out it went viral. It got 11 million views. And we went So it went viral and we ended up getting kicked out. Now we're trying to figure. It's just a quote from the video. So yeah, you know, these people use their living situation, turn it into content. The content turned to clout, and the clout turned to a free hotel. What's the problem?
What? Oh my god!
I guess what's the last thing? Is it just like an update, or is it just a TLDR?
And making some content
Oh.
for you guys. So
Yeah,
stay
tuned.
posted.
Oh, there you go. Man,
Oh my god, bro!
I'm waiting to see the problem, and by waiting,
Oh my
there's
God.
nothing but problems. So, you guys saw the videos. You have the context. What do you make of this? Because this is not uncommon at all. Like I said in the beginning, everyone is posting their stories, their lives on social media and on the internet these days to get it in front of millions of views, millions of people potentially, and you never know, it can go viral. I'm pretty sure when these people posted this video, or this brother, because in a lot of the videos, that homegirl was trying to get some rest. When they posted it, they didn't think this was going to go in front of millions of people. They didn't think the property manager would catch wind of it, even though that's completely foolish. Even if you have 2 followers, don't post about your personal business that you don't want to get out there. They didn't know that, you know, it would turn into like people speaking about it and things of that nature. So they just didn't know. But it did work. And well, I don't know about worked, but it did translate into like another temporary living situation. So I say all that to ask, what do you guys think? Do you think people should be broadcasting their lives, or do you think the fact that people broadcasting lives is more acceptable in this day and age, or do you think that people should be a bit more, you know, preserve these type of things and keep it to themselves? You know, keeping in mind that we do live in a digital age where people are, you know, doing things for clout. It seems like you had a couple things to get off your heart and your chest. Go ahead.
I don't like being a hater. That's actually not true. But
What a way to start.
pretend I don't like being a hater. But like, come on, bro. Like, if you find a method, and I'm not saying this was the best method, but it was a method. I don't have a problem with what they were doing. They found something that worked.
You have a problem with them living in a storage unit?
Yeah, I mean, as long as they have a fine, it's not legal. But again, I don't have any
So you're okay with
issue
people
with it.
doing illegal things?
You got to do what you got to do to survive. I'm 100% not hating on that. I do not care. They found a decent situation. They were trying to make the best of it.
Could somebody live
Well,
outside of your property if it was legal?
yeah, I mean, again, it's not my property. It's
Well, I'm saying, if you had a property and the outside of it was legal, like the literal sidewalk of the door, they could live there, you would be cool with them doing that?
I mean, I don't want to see that, but
I actually like that. I actually like that response, because you could have said
it's not like they were living outside of somebody's house. It was
No, I know. I just like your response. That's all. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't have any problem circumventing the law. But
that's a wild thing to say.
If you were stupid enough to post it online and not expect again, you're doing something that's illegal. What did you expect, bro? Like, just keep it off TikTok.
I mean, but isn't that the whole thing? They didn't expect this to go viral.
Why would you put it on TikTok in the first place if you don't expect it to go viral? What is your goal? What are you trying to gain from this? Is it money? Because if it's not going viral, you're not getting any money out of it.
I mean, there's a difference between like some people being privy to it and the things being viral, like so far before.
Why do you want anyone privy to it?
Because they're showcasing their life, like which we all doing.
Why do? Okay. This I'm being super hater.
2024. Right, you don't have to be a hater or like an enjoyer of it. I'm just like, I think you are 100% conscious of why people share their lives.
But why? Again, I get that certain people want to share their lives. They have get ready with me videos and vlogs and day in life. I personally, I don't give a shit about that. I will never do it. But I get certain people want to do that.
Never say never.
That's fine. But if you cannot control your impulse when you're doing something illegal, this is like all people that be posting these methods, these illegal methods online. For one, if you have a good method, even if it's illegal, keep it to yourself, so you can be the only one that exploits it. You don't want everyone doing your method and it gets circulated and then it gets cracked down on. You don't want that. Like if you're that attention starved that you need the attention and you can't bear it if someone isn't privy to your life just for likes and it's crazy, bro.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Because by the way, this particular hack is not like a secret hack. Like people have been, sneaking into their storage
someone
routing.
That was in a situation like this, and it sucks. But it's like you don't broadcast it because again, you're trying to survive, and I have no problems with that. Don't be stupid enough to post it online. Like
I got you. So you already don't like it, but your main issue is if you're doing something like you shouldn't even be doing in the first place, you definitely shouldn't be doing that.
Just if they had just kept it off TikTok, off of social media, then they'd be chilling. Probably, maybe
for a little longer. I think eventually people do catch on to the fact. Hey,
they would have got busted at some point. But
yeah. Fair enough. I can't combat what you're saying because like you did kind of lay the groundwork of why this in particular is kind of stupid. But I think in general, like people are posting their lives and that's not changing. Like we have our phones, they're glued to us. So why would I not turn the camera on? And why would I not go log into Instagram or TikTok and post the live button?
I think I already mentioned it, but it's like.
Why would I
Nobody gives a shit. Well, apparently people do.
Exactly.
Like I can't speak to other people, but I think caring about other people's lives is stupid. And I think
I don't want to.
It's stupid. I'm saying
you're doing this
stupid.
again. You're doing like the college
caring about
thing.
Other people's lives, not you. Just in general, people caring about other.
To some degree, we all care.
Wanting people to care about your life is stupid. I'm talking about strangers. So if it's friends, whatever.
To some degree, we all care about other people's that we, in theory, will never even come across lives.
We do.
Yes, even if it's like an artist that you like follow to some degree, like don't get on here and act like there is nobody that if you haven't come across them in your life or maybe won't come across them, you wouldn't care if they live or die. Like you do care to some extent.
Bro, what do you? I mean, sorry. I mean, for like maybe 2 seconds, I might have a fleeting thought. I wonder how this person lives, and then I move on with my life. Like I'm not actively following anyone.
Which is fair. I'm not saying you're as engaged with people's lives as like the common person.
In what capacity do you mean, or are you classifying caring as? Or...
I'm saying like we all follow like an artist that we enjoy, or like somebody that we've enjoyed their content, like
and follow the content.
I mean, the content. A lot of times,
care about people's lives.
Well, one, for these people, their content was their life, and for two, like it's pretty close in this day and age, especially like if a person's gotten relatively like famous within the last like 10 years, like their content and their lives is very closely related. Like it's not you'll know something about their life. You'll know if this person has a family, has a son, has something. You'll know.
Who you me like I
will 100% say that there are content creators where I definitely follow their lives. I'm not gonna hide that.
I'm just an exception to this, but
people are trying to make this personal on this podcast. I'll say that you probably are in the higher echelon of you don't care, but I'm saying there's no one that doesn't care. You'd have to be a grandpa that doesn't even go on the internet to not care at all.
But no, I'm saying why would I care about someone's?
Ask yourself that. Why have you ever known information about somebody that you don't know?
I must be maybe I'm not thinking of something, but like this is the main content that I consume: sports and music.
Yeah,
and maybe like some.
Okay, if I were to ask you what's the name of LeBron's wife, could you answer that?
I know it, but know it.
If I were to ask you,
it comes up in the context of sports.
I guess his son's is like not a good example. But if I were to ask you about, I don't want to get into the biggest one.
You could like my favorite NBA player right now is Stephen Curry. I could not tell you the names of his children because I don't care.
But you know his wife.
Because
and you know his dad.
It comes up in the context of sports.
And you probably know some things.
Because he's literally a former NBA player.
And you probably know some things that are adjacent to his life. Like you probably heard some like relative you probably have heard some things that have happened within the not related to 100% basketball.
Not so by choice.
Ghost is saying, I think, that not necessarily he doesn't care, just like flippantly, but it's that
he said why would you care?
You don't try to be a bad lawyer. Right? You don't follow their lives, but if something bad happened to them, you would care. You would have some type of empathy. You wouldn't just be like, well, whatever.
I'm not saying bad. Yeah, the example I gave him, it's just doing a fact about like people's the name of their wives or the name of people that are in a relationship to them.
Not care to know that. I think.
Caring is
what
knowing.
I'm saying is that if something happened to a person,
not care about the fact.
Well, I'm not saying. I'm saying if I came, what do you mean? Bro, can I tell you how I actually?
No, I'm talking to Quest. He's
what you're gonna say is irrelevant because if you truly didn't care and you truly didn't want to care, you would have to abstain from the internet and like all assets of potentially knowing this information.
That's not okay. This is what
so any information
any info I'm going to come across information. I'm not
if it's information that you. There's difference in information that you are going to end up coming across and information that you didn't have to come across. Being on the internet is not a requirement.
Bro, it's not just.
But you could just hear something,
bro. If I'm on the internet and I'm following the sport, I'm on Twitter or whatever. There's going to be some threads that come up that aren't specifically about the sport. I acknowledge.
Yeah, and you're going to go in those threads. You're gonna be in those threads.
No, I will. Okay, I'll passively see a headline. I'm not actively seeking it out because I don't really care. Now, if something came like, X person's daughter.
The thing is, that still establishes my point that you're on these social medias looking at these headlines.
What? That's not. There's a difference between coming across it passively when that wasn't your intent and actively seeking.
You being on social media makes it not passive. Is the thing?
No, it's not because I'm on social media for a specific purpose, which is. Like I'm just talking about sports again, but to get information about the sport.
You could easily go to ESB.com. Hey, what was the score? Like let's not conflate what's quote unquote passive and what's unquote a requirement to get the thing done.
You can go on Twitter to like look at different reactions to the game, the outcome of the videos and stuff.
It's people's comments.
No, it's not about the comments.
The thing is, I understand you can do things for other reasons, but I'm saying if you truly didn't care and didn't care to know, there's always a to B route you could go. If you start going through some of these other methods, social media is the biggest one.
Because you tell me that I have to have a complete clinical approach and I can't interact with anything outside.
If you were to truly be taking the stance of if you don't care and you don't care to know,
bro,
yes.
I care. I care about the sport in general. So I'm going to go down different avenues to pursue that interest. It's not just limited to looking at the ESPN box scores.
Okay, that's cool. But by going
I can come across information. You can come across information passively that you don't really care about, but you still retain in some manner because you came across it.
I agree with these things. What I'm saying is some of these avenues you're putting in care to do.
But no, it's not. It's different because you're putting in effort for a specific reason, and if you get to whatever reason you go on,
I hear what you're saying, and like it sounds good, but
you're trying to assign me care that I don't have. Like if I come across like LeBron's wife,
fine, you're right, but it's based off your actions. Because if you really didn't care, I've already established you would be going the A or B method to not consume anything else.
You can't tell me that because again, I'm trying to get information in a certain manner. And I probably can't get the information.
And you're conscious of the fact that these other manners could potentially lead to you getting other information, correct?
Other information that I don't care about, that I'll scroll past.
Okay, now you can say that, but you've already crossed that threshold of caring. You're already there. You care.
What are you saying?
Hey,
you can't tell me I care about something when I don't.
Hey man, somebody could tell you that.
So
by the way, there's a bevy
information that you come across on social media.
You know what this sounds
care
like?
About it because you're on social media.
I'm saying by being on social media, I'm putting myself. I care because I'm on the platform. If I didn't care, if I truly didn't care, I wouldn't be on the platform. But
so every time you come across a crazy post on your the freaking Twitter thing is called. On your For You.
The thing is, I'm not necessarily saying you care about all these specific if you were scrolling on TikTok or whatever and you came across this brother's story, I'm not saying you care about the actual story, but to say that you don't care, that's assigning, hey, I'm not even trying to even consume this.
No, it means that you come across it, you don't pay it any further attention than when you first encounter it.
Well, you know what would get you? You know what would help you, so you don't come across it at all. Not be on social media, but regardless, all this reminds me of By the way, you can go to. You know what's funny? Being on being on a page like Hollywood Unlocked or the Shade Room. You know what the comments are filled with when there's a topic about something. Like for example, this is a good example of thing I passively know about because I'm on social media. Blueface and Krishan Rock. Whenever they get into something, you know what the comments are filled with? We don't care. Why is this here? We don't care. We don't care. We don't care. And then you know what somebody's responding to them? Hey, if you don't care, why are you saying you don't care? Why are you on this platform?
Yes, that's correct. Because you're putting in effort to respond. If you come across a Krishan and Blueface post and you scroll past it, you're showing that you don't care because you ignore it and you scroll past it.
Hey man, you know what would really showcase you don't care?
That's
not even
you're bugging.
Not even owning the app.
You're bugging. You know what's funny? I actually did uninstall Twitter.
You know
that's the actual funny thing.
This could be something that we fundamentally. This could be fun. I mean, I believe that, and that's a sign that I believe you don't care. This could be something we fundamentally disagree on. But it really is a hard sell that somebody doesn't care, but they actively are allowing themselves to consume the information. It just really doesn't make sense to me. But getting back to the actual topic, because we don't want to get too far off, and it's already going on 3 hours.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I guess Ace, what do you make of this? Are you understanding to why people would share all facets of their life, even if it's not in their best interest? Or do you side with people should really be keeping things to themselves, even in this day and age?
Yeah, I mostly agree with Ghost that unless the goal was literally to get the free hotel or whatever, somebody to pay their way at the end, this was a very dumb thing to do.
What if it was like to inspire? Because I'm putting a little low. So
you trying to inspire people to move out of their houses and into storage?
Well, if you let me finish, then they're trying to tie it. I'm putting a little loading on this, but it sounded like they were describing, hey, we're doing this so we can save money, and then they express, hey, we have other goals, hey, potentially getting an RV, then potentially getting a small house. So I think a lot of reasons why this particular couple were doing this, and why a lot of people probably do this, is to show their entire the entire story. They don't want to show you where, hey, we got a nice house and we have a nice yard and we have a nice dog. I want to show you, hey, I came from living in a storage unit, RV, cold nights, hot winters or hot summers, sorry, but now I'm here. I was able to do this. I'm just sharing my story. Or I'm showing you guys the entire timeline. So I think that
show it after you can't get kicked out the storage unit.
But people
that'd be actually kind of crazy.
And then going back
videos on deck, and then you exploited it afterwards.
Then going back to the Fat Joe thing, people love authenticity. They got the raw ingredients of, hey, and this is not just what my past was. This is my reality now.
You can lie and say it's your
Bro, I
reality
mean,
now.
it's still dumb because of the principle of you can get kicked out. Like, if you don't want to
Okay.
get kicked out, this is dumb.
Well, let's just be clear, because that was what Ghost was leaning on. But say this wasn't illegal, would you be 100% fine with this?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, other people do it in ways that aren't illegal. People showing that they live in these tiny homes or all different type of stuff. Like, there's legal ways to do it, and I'm fine with that.
Okay, and then okay, that's fine. And then also, yeah, what about the potentiality of like, garnering support because you do have a billion views on you? You don't. What about that aspect of it?
Yeah, I mean, if that was the goal, like I said, then it's not dumb, and I think, yeah, they accomplished it. So I from that perspective, I would say,
People should keep being viral.
Yeah, I mean, not everybody's gonna have this level of success, but
This is true.
sure, if you wanna risk.
But they should try. What you're saying, specifically you.
No. I'm not saying you should try.
Why shouldn't you try if it could lead to good positive results?
Because the negatives can potentially outweigh the positives. It's a consideration. It's not just, hey, if I do this, I'm going to get the support. You can garner the negatives without any support.
You don't gotta take you can't take risks in life.
Yeah, you can. It's a consideration. I'm not saying you should. I'm saying, in my opinion, you shouldn't. If you are going to, then you have to consider both sides.
So you wouldn't recommend people take risks?
Quest.
Well, I'm
You inflammatory, bro. Like you just be.
What did you say, and then what did I say, and how was it not different? How are they different things?
You're saying a generalized statement. I'm saying, in my opinion, this is not a risk I would recommend you take. If you are going to take it, weigh both sides. And you just said I don't take risks. That's
Okay,
what I'm saying.
Okay, then I'm just if you didn't say it, all you have to do is clarify. You didn't say it. Yeah, the bottom line is while they did have their what they call it, 15 minutes of fame, it really is just that. I obviously don't want brothers and sisters out there to just be raw homeless. We don't know what the circumstances led up to them being in this your storage unit, but obviously, while we can be sympathetic of the situation, you do have to move intelligently when you're in these situations. And yeah, if you can foresee or the thing goes, even if you because the outcome of this, not to focus too much on this specific scenario, but the outcome of this was that they got another temporary living situation, and like they said, they're going to use that time to, use it, figure out the next move. But at the end of the day, you're there for a few days, or whatever the time span may be. That's not going to change your life. You got to really be conscious and weigh the outcomes of your decisions. If they got like a Netflix deal out of this, that would be one thing. But just getting some, even if someone started a GoFundMe for you for a couple $1,000s, is that worth it? You gotta really make conscious decisions. And not to say that these people aren't even in the state of position in life to be making ultra conscious business decisions, but I think even on a whatever scale we're talking about, we do have to be incredibly conscious of the things that we're putting out there and the results in which they may have. I think is just the bottom line. And also going back to, how it hurts just the brand in general. Again, there's probably millions of people around the world that are doing these type of things, and I'm sure seeing this, you got storage unit managers putting big signs, hey, don't be here that long. Hey, we're installing cameras. Hey, no noise. Hey, no they just ruined the game for a lot of people potentially. Yep. So that's the other thing you got to take into consideration when you go viral or when you try to put stuff on the internet. But hopefully they land on their feet, unless again circumstances. Hopefully they didn't do no dumb shit to get in that precarious situation in the first place. And again, if they do have a young son, hopefully they're not having the.
Damn, I forgot they had a kid
storage
too.
Unit.
I didn't see the kid in that hotel, to be honest. So I don't know what his deal is.
Which is good, man.
Yeah, I hope he's living in.
We know we're gonna end this on. I don't have any strong views on people putting their business out online. I understand we live in a day and age where, again, our phones are glued to us, and the camera's gonna be put on at some point in time. One thing I don't like about that is there are so many kids on the internet, and I'm not with that. I damn near wouldn't be surprised if they implement laws in the future regarding that. Like, kids just wholesale shouldn't be on the internet to the rate which they are. I'm not with that. But that's just a tangent point. Yeah, if there's nothing else, any other hate or comments, questions, or concerns to get off, we can wrap it up.
I think I've got through my hate for the night.
Let's see. I guess I can switch screens. Go here, and then come back here, and then go here. Yeah, okay. So that's all the topics. Great conversation as per usual. Obviously, that's the main purpose of this podcast. And before we conclude, we always got to talk about what, if anything, we're looking forward to. You know what they say about having something to look forward to. Like, maybe you're looking forward to being in a nice hotel soon.
For me, I'll probably be taking a trip to the West Coast in the next few weeks. It's not.
Hey, women weeding weather.
It's mostly for work, but
mostly.
But yeah, I still look forward to it.
All praises. I can't wait to hear. You know what? I guess we'll keep it on the low until that actually happens. But yeah, that'd be dope to hear about. What about yourself, Ghost?
I guess there's a couple other concerts I'm looking forward to. The Makai McCraven one happened this week. There's that. I think there was something else that I forgot about. I'm not ready to lay down and die yet.
Hey, man. Hey, man. I mean, ultimately, nothing wrong with getting one or two of those in the year anyway. And I mean, likewise, there are some hints of travel plans for myself coming up as well. And just, I think I actually might have mentioned before, so I might actually be cheating. But yeah, now that I've completed some financial and saving goals in the near future, you might see me enacting. Sorry, I was like, what? Enacting on some of those things. But yeah, the ambiguity aside, I think once the warmer months start to come in, I think they're going to see some changes, some positive changes, Lord's will. But if there's nothing else, I guess we're pretty much done here for tonight. My apologies if I didn't say it earlier for the delay, even though this is like usual hours for us. But in the past couple podcasts, I know we've been able to conclude before even midnight, so maybe you will try to stick to that, but you never know with us. So either way, appreciative to you guys for coming here and doing this podcast thing, sorting through some technical difficulties in the beginning. And we give thanks to any and all listeners. We greatly appreciate y'all. And we hope by listening to our podcast that you might have gained your perspective or learned something new. Like the fact that this is not the time to go shopping for a storage unit for any type of long-term commitment. Or we just hope that you find it entertaining. But if none of that happened for you, all we have to say to you is be warmed and be filled. Thank you. Okay. And then hopefully the stream was going all that time. Obviously it was, but you know, you never know until you never know that one time where it's gonna be like messed up. But obviously I'm checking it now, and it looks
All we
good.
have to say to you is.
So yeah, let's go listen to